Now we're live. There we go. Welcome in, everybody. It is The Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every day round about noon, live from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on the south side of Chicago. Let's say hi to the chat room. We have a raucous chat room we like to engage with. I need to engage with the chat room more. I think that's clear. Who was first in? Taranda, of course. Taranda is always the first one I see. I wonder why that is. We also got Byron in here. What do you say, Byron? We got Barney. The boys are all here. Let's go. All right, we need more. Where's everybody else? All right, here they come. One at a time. Say hi in the chat room. I got to say hi. It's like Romper Room. Remember Romper Room when we, used to... Maddie's here. Maddie's here. Day 3. Adam's here. My boy Adam. What am I fighting with Adam about? What am I fighting with Adam about something? I love Adam, but we're always fighting about something. What am I fighting with Adam about? Why did I just feel like, because I saw Adam pop up and I'm like, oh, I got to be nice to him today. Was I mean to Adam yesterday? Probably. Oh, the Ego Wodum bullshit. Yeah. That's what it is. There's my girl. There's April. My wife from another life. That's what I say. Hey, that's pretty good. I just coined that. That's not bad. That is not bad. Why don't, I guess, dudes have work wives and stuff. Okay, my wife from another life. Let's get that to catch on. Let's make that catch on. Okay, coming up today on the show, let me tell you what we're going to talk about. We'll catch up on headlines, blah, 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 whatever. Hey, do you know about this new social media scan that they're going to do for like Frenchies and Brits and our friends, all our friends from that part of the world? Yeah, actually it's everybody, but they're also including people who before didn't have to go through a bunch of hoops just to get into this country. Apparently, they're floating an idea that in order to get into this country on a travel visa, you got to present 5 years of your social media history. Looks like I ain't. Well, it's a good thing I'm here because there's a big chance that they'd have been like, so you don't approve of dear leader, and then they send me packing back to whatever Euro country I came from. So we'll get into that. We're going to talk about this really, well, it's an ugly story. There's no couple ways around it. You following the story out of Oklahoma about the baseball player boy who raped a bunch of girls and like real violently, and he's like connected in the town and all this stuff. And he went to jail, and the judge let him walk. Okay, so we'll get into that. The sordid story of Jesse Butler out there in Oklahoma. No, he doesn't. I got thoughts on that story, so we'll get into that. Also, I want to touch on a couple of things that I've seen, and I've been teasing the last couple of days. We're going to talk about the wealthy and why they steal more. Yeah, wealthy people steal more. There's a reason for it, not necessarily given in this article we'll pull from, but I know what the reason is. I know why wealthy people steal more than poor people. We'll talk about that. Also, the other F word. Today's the day we're going to get into the other F word. It's, of course, not the fuck word. It's the fag word, right? So there are 2 F words now, apparently. Or is there really? Are they the same? And more to the point, is the F word more in league with the N word than it is maybe anything else? I don't know. We'll talk about it. I've got thoughts, and I'm sure you do as well. And we'll watch some videos and we'll talk about some, silly stuff. We got a whole bunch of crap coming on today. Don't worry about it. Okay, we got Bill Falk in the chat room. Bill's the only new one. Sorry. Hi, Billy boy. All right, come on. Big news of popping. Couple of things. I'm very nervous about. Oh wow, you can really see my Violent Gentleman t-shirt. This is one of my favorite it's kind of chilly, but this is one of my favorite t-shirts in the world. Look at this. It's here. I'll show it to you. It's my Violent Gentleman t-shirt. It's a bunch of old time hockey dudes with bloody faces and fucked up, and they're shaking hands. But underneath it says, there it is, Violent Gentleman. That's a good shirt. I don't know. I like my shirt. Make sure we cover that. There we go. Don't know who those guys are. I'd have to really take a look at it. I don't think I've ever taken a look. I think it's probably like, like a Bobby Orr and a Phil Esposito, old time hockey, Eddie Shore type stuff. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be appearing on a big, hot, super popular local show here. It's called The 108, and it is their Festivus celebration. And it is tomorrow night. It is at 7 o'clock. I don't know when I'm going to be on. I don't know. They got me slotted early. I'm an opener. They got a bunch of the 108, I told you about these guys yesterday. They are local podcasters and content creators. If you're familiar with the scene there in Dallas, you could say that they're the Cirque du Soleil kind of Chicago. They began as just a bunch of rowdy White Sox fans who had a digital dream, and they turned that into this really, it's almost like a Barstool Light. Like, it's one of those kind of things. They're growing it. They're doing stuff. They do really fun events. You go out to find them in bars. They're doing it right, is my point. They are doing it right. So tomorrow night is their annual Festivus celebration. It's a live stream beginning at 7 o'clock. And they've asked me, they've honored me with, so I don't know what my grievances are I got to come up with grievances. That's kind of the thing. Well, I think you guys, if you listen to this show every day, you know that I got grievances. I just got to pare them down, I guess. I got to find what grievances would be best for me tomorrow night on the From the 108 Live Festivus stream. Again, if you haven't liked or followed From the 108 on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, they're going to send out alerts so you'll know when I'm on if you want to check me out. Because I'm going to be nervous. Your boy's going to be a little bit nervous. Your boy is going to be with people that he respects. Your boy is going to be with people who can do the things that your boy can't. So it'll be fun. Shit the bed. They're going to hate me. They're going to be like, oh, he didn't work out. He wasn't good. He was too talky and I hated his beard. It'll be something like that. It's always something like that. Because I'm toxic. Did I tell you guys that I'm toxic? I don't know why, but apparently I am. I know I'm not toxic. I got a text from a friend yesterday in Dallas who was like, what the fuck are you talking about, toxic? I'm like, it's just my own depression. But along those lines, maybe this is one of the reasons I am toxic. Fucking bring it. Bring it, people. I'm ready to go to war. I'm tired of playing nice. A couple of years back, I told you about a podcast that I had dreamed of, that I had envisioned. And James Parker and I began working. This is back in the day of the Pugs and Parker show, which was a nighttime show that I'm really hoping we can bring back in some way, shape, or form. We started working on a concept for a podcast series called Who Killed 1053. Now, if you remember, you probably thought it went away. You probably just thought, oh, it's another thing that Pugs abandoned. Well, you would be right, because it was another thing that I abandoned. But luckily, James Parker didn't. And really, that's all we needed for this. We did all the interviews. We just needed somebody who knew how to edit. But no, this is James Parker Presents. It'll be on Radio Misfits. It is ready for release. Here, I got the promo here. I don't know. Do you remember? We watched the promo. It is going to be a 10-episode podcast series from James Parker exclusively on Radio Misfits. Hopefully, we're going to get this thing to drop January 1st. That would be the cool time to do it on January 1st. But if you're interested, this is kind of what it's going to be. I am working on my memoirs, James, and I'm burning every motherfucking bridge that there is out there, and I am blowing up every fucking person with a name that people might know, and I'm going to produce the podcast, Who Killed Live 1053? And it will tell the story from beginning to end of exactly what a missed opportunity Live 1053 was because of the actions of some assholes. There was some assholery going on there, and I'm done not talking about it. And we're going to tell all the stories, and we're going to allow people the freedom to untether themselves from whatever burdens they may have been holding on to for 10 years.
Thanks for 7 great years of...
And so Opie's sitting there on the chair, and as Russ walked through the door, Opie said really loud, "Hey, is that Russ Martin dick?" I will attempt over the next few episodes to tell the full story of the rise and fall of one of the most successful yet short-lived radio stations in American broadcast history. Who Killed Live 1053? How about that, ladies and gentlemen? James freaking Parker. That's incredible. The guests on it, incredible. Everybody's on it. Everybody's on it that's alive, or in the case of my sainted partner Kelly, were alive at the time. It's Kelly's last interview. Probably apropos. It's the last thing that Kelly did publicly, and she kind of let it all out. So there you have it. Coming, I believe, January 1st. Let's target that. That's just me. I'm wildcatting here. January 1st drop. It's ready to go. It is. I got the call this morning from Ed over at Radio Misfits. So I'm excited. This is going to be fun, huh? This 10 episodes of just stories and maybe a common thread that at the end you'll be able to go, okay, so that's what happened to Live 105.3, because that's a real question. It's the question everybody asks. What happened to Live 105? Everybody says that. Whatever happened to that? You guys were so popular. I'm like, yeah, well, sometimes popularity, money, popularity, ego, individuals who are just insane, all of that you'll find out. 10 episodes. Who Killed Live 105.3 coming to Radio Misfits, dropping it January 1st. Yeah, so Bill says those interviews, those were some killer interviews. Well, thank you, Bill, for saying that. The interview, it's not just like a compilation of the interviews that you've already seen. I mean, we're using the interviews to tell the story. So if you saw the raw 2 years ago, if you watched the raw unedited interviews, you'll probably have a much, deeper view of what ends up on the audio, on the podcast. My point is this: it's 10 episodes. It's been chopped up to 10 episodes. It's going to tell you the story. We're going to name names. We let dirt fly, all of that good stuff. So yeah, be looking for that. Radio Misfits. Like, follow, subscribe, and you'll get the Who Killed Live 105.3 when it drops. All right, that's very good news. Very exciting. So proud of James Parker. So happy that he was able to do what I couldn't, which is edit and stuff, and all of that. So good on him. He is the guy. It's James Parker. But I don't want any credit other than just being a guy in the interviews, telling stories. James Parker did this. So, by the way, you can thank him by listening to the James Parker Show every afternoon, 2 to 5 on WBAP 93.3 right there in Dallas, Fort Worth. All right. Yeah, Jeff Ballard's back in the chat. Jeff, where you been? Why hasn't Jeff been in the chat? It's like it's been a week here. We got certain people that haven't shown back up. A lot of people who haven't shown back up. A lot of tippers haven't shown back up. That's a big deal for me. But I still love seeing all of you guys. And by the way, speaking of that, thank you, Barney. Barney dropped a tip today to keep this show going. Thank you, Barney. I really do appreciate that, man. I saw that this morning because I'm on it. You can support this kind of talk radio for normal people. Talk radio doesn't give a shit how you voted in the last election. We do it every day at noon. Been doing it every day at noon for 4 years, and we stay alive because of you. Because you people are like, you know what? This is better than listening to a guy do radio in a suit screaming about how everything is Biden's fault. Fucking guy's like near death. He's like, I hadn't been president in a year. What? What are you talking? Get off it. What do you want to blame Hillary Clinton for something next? All right, if you hate that kind of fucking radio and you like a little bit more conversational, a little bit less accusatory, a little bit less divisive, then that's what we do here every day for the last 4 years. All right. Tip the show if you can. Thank you, Barney. I really do appreciate that. Also, we've only gotten a couple of tips, and the people that need to be thanked. I didn't make that list. I'm gonna make that list heading into the weekend. I'll make that list. Mama B, thank you. I didn't thank Mama B. Mama B's great. She drops a little something. Appreciate that. Jen, certainly appreciate it. Oh, and here's the other thing, guys. Let me just say this. You know that I have to do this. It's part of like how the show runs. It's how we pay for everything around here. And I mean everything. But I'm not the only one. who's like struggling right now. I know that everybody is struggling right now. This whatever the hell is going on. I paid $8 for a pound of ground beef yesterday. It was at the store. I'm like, I want to make some meatballs, and I'm like $8. I'm like, I can't do it. Can't do $8. Everything sucks. This is going to be a rough Christmas for a lot of people. So when I sit here and I say, tip the show if you can, tip the show if you can, I mean if you can, because I can't tip anybody, right? I mean, I would love to be able to be generous and charitable and all of that, especially this time of the year, but I can't do it myself. So I completely get it. So don't feel bad. There's only a few of us here, it's so please don't let the fact. Here's my fear. My fear is that somebody who listens every day and hangs out every day and it contributes in other ways to what we're doing here, they might feel guilty. Because I do press. I'm like, tip the show. They might feel guilty and not want to listen at all. And I don't want you to feel that way. That's why I don't do names. That's why I don't, I do names sometimes. I like to thank the people that are really cornerstones of this operation. But I appreciate all of you equally. So thank you. And that's enough of that. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Let's say hi to some people in the chat room. What's going on in the chat room? Anybody got anything to say? Anybody got anything that's going to spur me here from the beginning? Barney's, he says, so like the old 105.3 days, Pugs had an idea and James made it happen. Exactly. Except not so much James in the 105.3 days, because James abandoned us for radio in Oklahoma after like a year and a half. Sybil was the one who made everything happen at 105.3. Everything. I mean, that show, anybody who liked anything about the Pugs and Kelly show, you could thank Sybil for it. Kelly and I just showed up and talked to each other. Everything cool that was ever done on that show, that was Sybil and Eric. I shouldn't not give credit to Eric, because it is also both of them. Let's see here. Jeff, job is closing the doors Friday, fucking 2 weeks before Christmas. Dollar store Christmas for me. Yeah, buddy, man. I get it, Jeff. I get it, bro. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were losing your job. I love you, Jeff. We love you, Jeff. We all love Jeff, and we're happy that he's back. Let's see here. All right, everybody's just saying hi. So nobody's engaging me. We could do a Ask Me Anything segment, but I want to get into the show. What do you say we just get into the show? Here we go. Okay. Let's see here. The story that I'm following, I'm big on this media merger business, and there isn't really much more to report about the whole menage a trois between Paramount, Skydance, which is the Ellison family, Netflix, which we all know what that is, and the prettiest girl at the ball, Warner Brothers Discovery, who everybody wants to take home. The deal, I'll just recap it for you. The deal was, everyone thought that it was going to be the Ellison family. It was going to be Paramount and Skydance that were going to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. And then on Friday, Netflix announced, nope, we made a deal with them. That shocked everybody and sent Hollywood into a tizzy. Everybody's worried about the future of theaters and, movie film production and release and all that kind of stuff. So on Monday, I told you about, or was it Tuesday? I don't know, whatever. I told you about the latest thing was that we found out that the money behind the Paramount Skydance purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery was all Saudi money, and it was all Kushner money. So now look, now we got the White House and gross Saudis all wrapped up in this deal, and it's even funkier than before. And now comes word, this is the news today about Netflix and about how serious Netflix is about expanding and moving in. Netflix tried to buy Disney apparently last month for $82 billion. They began negotiations, secret negotiations, and apparently the deal didn't go through, but that's the level that Netflix is looking to play at now. Netflix is looking to buy Disney. Yesterday, if you had told me this, if somebody had come up to me and said, yeah, you know what I heard? I heard Netflix tried to buy Disney. I'd say you're insane. I go, Netflix doesn't have the stroke to buy Disney. Disney buys Netflix. Netflix doesn't buy Disney. But then I saw it reported, and it's a headline. It's being reported everywhere today. Netflix legitimately tried to buy Disney for $82 billion, and Disney said no. That would have been seismic That would have been even bigger than Netflix trying to come in here and steal away Warner Brothers Discovery from Paramount Skydance. So anyway, this story is ongoing. President says he doesn't know anything about nothing. Like, they asked the president, they're like, hey, are you going to get involved in this Netflix and Skydance versus Warner Brothers kind of deal? You know, your son-in-law is in charge of it, and it's all Saudi money. And the president's like, I don't know nothing. They don't tell me nothing around here except what time dinner is. You don't know nothing. All right, whatever. All right, let's see. What's another big story we talk about today? Here's this one here. This one I thought was interesting. And I got to be honest, I haven't seen much coverage of it other than it seems to be the top story on the Drudge Report. That's right. That's one of the sites that I look at just for headlines, stories to riff on. So apparently we're all worried about people coming here from other countries. Used to just be the, am I saying this right, shithole countries that we were concerned about, but now we seem to be acting punitively towards our friends. We seem to, it started, a year ago with Canada. Remember when we just picked a fight with Canada for no reason? We're just like, fuck you, Canada. Because that's what happens when you don't have a real enemy. Or when you have a real enemy, but you're just afraid to engage with them, you turn on your friends. What are you laughing at? That kind of thing. So we did that to Canada. And we've been kind of screwing with our allies over there in Europe, which is weird because, the bulk of our stature in the world as a power is completely wrapped up in NATO, in the notion that we run and control NATO, but it's really a bunch of troops from all over the world. And we're being like dicks to all of those countries that we line up with under the NATO banner. So that's weird. I just don't get it. Anyway, comes word today that there is a plan with U.S. Customs and Border Patrol to ratchet up the scrutiny that we put on people coming from Europe, UK, France, Germany. Again, do I have this right? The non-shithole countries. It says here, U.S. plans to scrutinize foreign tourist social media history. Visitors from countries like Britain and France whose citizens do not need visas would now be required to share 5 years worth of social media. You want to go to America for I'm going to Hollywood or whatever for a vacation? How are you going to share 5 years worth of social media? Let's say the person isn't me, a middle-aged man who's got a fairly extensive social media history, but I'm not like a kid on social media, right? So imagine you're a 23-year-old chick from France, right? And you're just trying to come to, New York City or something like that. You got to produce 5 years of social media? What does 5 years of social media for a modern 22-year-old look like? I mean, what do you need me to print all this out? Because I'm going to need like a couple dollies. This is going to be like a palette of printouts of social media activity from 5 years. What are they looking for? That's the question. Look, because it can be justified in a fear-based society, which we've completely become. It can be justified that, well, we're just looking for, any kind of terroristic kind of threats or, allegiances. That's what we're looking. That's one thing. And again, in this microcosm of a fear-driven society that we've created for ourselves, that might make sense. I don't like it, but whatever. Or are we looking for people in France who put things like Trump sucks? Is this punitive or is it a truly sincere security measure put in place by people who are afraid of their own shadows? That's a thing for me. I don't make decisions based on fear. Okay, we're afraid of everything. Who's that guy? Who's that guy across the street? I've never seen him before. He's a fucking plumber. Okay. Oh, we're afraid of everything. But the idea to me, what bothers me about this isn't so much that we're going to step up the due diligence on people who are coming here. Because unlike, or kind of similar to, dear leader, I do think that there are certain countries that we ought to pay more attention to than maybe, I don't know, Ireland. What? Although, quite honestly, Ireland's getting pretty radical. There's like a radicalized pro-Ireland scene. So maybe we do need to check on some of these people because that's kind of spinning a little crazy too. 1919 Easter Rising type vibes going on in Ireland right now. I know you're not paying attention, but it's bubbling over. All right, let's get into this. Let me tell you exactly what this plan is supposed to be all about. Again, the United States is now floating an idea that they are going to check 5 years worth of social media history on anybody foreign trying to travel to this country, including our friends in Australia. Yeah, I mean, everybody. We're just going to fuck with everybody now. Traveling visit. Oh, Pugs, but an Arab terrorist can come in through Australia. Oh, shut up. Of course he can. There's workarounds for everything. This isn't an end-all, be-all solution to a larger problem. This is just another step that they're putting in place so that they can say, see, we tried after the next building falls down. That's all it is. It's all stupid little it's for our insurance premiums. We need to do this just because on the off chance. Shut up. You're being crazy. Travelers visiting the United States from countries like Britain, France, Germany, and South Korea could soon have to undergo a review of up to 5 years of their social media history. This according to a proposal filed on Tuesday by the United States Customs and Border Protection Agency. The change would affect visitors eligible for the visa waiver program. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I'm not from somewhere else. I'm from here. I'm not from somewhere else, and I don't go other places much. I don't have the money to travel internationally. The change would affect visitors eligible for the visa waiver program, which allows people from 42 countries to travel to the United States for up to 90 days without a visa, as long as they first obtain electronic travel authorization. Man, it already sounds hard to get here. Why are so many people that don't look American if it's so hard to get here? In a document filed Tuesday by the Federal Register, it said it plans to require applicants to provide a long list of personal data, including social media, email addresses, from the last decade. I don't know any of those passwords. And neither do any of these people. Do you know the password of an email that you had back in 2003? No. Oh, you're one of those people that uses the same password for everything? Okay. I shouldn't be that critical about people who use the same password for everything, because if I'm being honest, I've got a rotation of 4. I think I got a rotation of 4. And I never know which password is for which thing. But I try one after another. Oops, not that one. Then you get into a loop where you're like, oh, shit, is that a capital? Because then you got to do it again because maybe you didn't capitalize something. So it can take forever, but this is the world we've created. In a document filed on Tuesday in the Federal Register, they said they plan to require applicants to provide a long list of personal data, including social media, email addresses from the last decade, the names, birth dates, and places of residence and birthplaces of parents, spouses, siblings, and their children. What? Can you imagine that? You're just trying to go to, Houston for a weekend. Well, I guess you wouldn't go to Houston for a weekend. You're just trying to go to Texas for a week. You live in the UK. And suddenly you're forced, you've got this list of things, these checks, you got to go, oh shit, I got to get my nephew's email address. Why do I need my nephew's Instagram account? And here's another thing, who's going to do all this? Has Elon built a robot that can do all this? Because this sounds like something where we're now going to have to hire a whole bunch of people to do a job that really doesn't need to be done. This is silly. Under the current system, applicants from visa waiver countries must enroll in the electronic system for travel authorization. They pay a $40 fee and submit an email address, home address, a phone number, and emergency contact information. By the way, this is just the thing. Unless you're my mom, well, even my mom's married now. Don't have me as your in case of emergency. There's a chance, because here's why. You want to know why? Because chances are whoever sees in case of emergency, they're not going to call from your phone. They'll call from another phone. It'll be a number that I don't recognize. I'm going to let it go to voicemail. It'll be like that. And then even if you did get through to me in case of emergency, there's going to be a moment where I have to decide, do I care enough about you to actually drop everything and be your emergency contact? Because just because you made me your emergency contact doesn't mean that I'm willing to take on that responsibility. It's just not the way I am. Under the current system, all right, we already did that. Let's see here. This move by the Customs and Border Patrol follows similar actions by the United States government to conduct social media reviews for some visa applicants, including seekers of the H-1B visa. I thought that was a virus. What is H-1B? I thought that was the thing that was going to break out of Africa and kill us all. I don't know. Anybody else bored with this story? If I am, I can only imagine that you are. So let's continue. Barney says he doesn't know the password to the email he's using now. That's good. And I'd laugh at that, except I might be right with you. I'm not. I'm not sure. Why is Amy? There's hi, Amy. I didn't say hi to Amy. Amy, sorry about Jeff. We all are. Hey, Jeff, just do what I did. Just kind of start a podcast and hope that people will support what bullshit you're doing. That's how I'm rolling. Let's see here. Bill says, I imagine he's talking about this plan. It's not feasible. Well, there certainly are a lot. I mean, it seems like an infrastructure needs to be built just to carry off this plan, and that infrastructure isn't going to be cheap. And I thought we were all about Doge or whatever. By the way, did you see that? Elon Musk went on that Katie Miller. Do you guys know who Katie Miller is? Katie Miller is the wife of Stephen Miller. So I don't know if you know who Katie Miller is, but you're probably, just based on the little information I gave you, you're probably imagining a Shrek-like female. Katie Miller's hot. How did Stephen Miller, who looks as much like Stephen Miller would be the human being who looks the most like Nosferatu if it weren't for Rudy Giuliani. That's who Stephen Miller is, okay? Stephen Miller looks like an ancient vampire, and he's just like an absolute monster of a human being. And I can't imagine that he is sexual in the least. I mean, I imagine he self-reproduces in his little pod at night. I don't know, but he somehow has married Katie Miller, who's really cute. Probably awful, also awful. I don't know. I don't know anything about her, but I know she's in the Trump administration. And what she's doing now is a podcast, a very popular podcast. Very popular with that whole thing. And well, actually, I don't know if it's popular or not. Here's what I know. I know that it's got great marketing because every clip from the Katie Miller podcast seems to go viral. And it's always, people like Katie Miller sits down with Pete Hegseth. Katie Miller sits down with, it's all, good guests that she's getting because, she's Katie Miller. Anyway, so Katie Miller sat down with Elon Musk. Elon Musk was on the Katie Miller podcast, which is really interesting because if you remember, before Katie Miller and Stephen Miller, before they got married, Katie Miller was sleeping with Elon Musk. Katie Miller was like hanging. She was like a mistress of Elon Musk, and they were kind of like a thing. And then all of a sudden, she's getting married to Stephen Miller, and people are like, "What happened to Elon?" And then Elon was like telling Trump, "Don't hire Stephen Miller." And it was just crazy. It was like a whole thing. So that's why it was odd, or a good get for Katie Miller to sit down and talk to Elon Musk. She said that. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I only saw clips. I don't want to subscribe to something like that and then what? Be on a list? And I don't mean be on a list for this administration. I mean be on a list for the next one. Because my fear that the pendulum swing from this crazy far right is that we will absolutely go crazy far left. As history has been the judge, there will be a correction. We will go crazy far left. And all you MAGA people with your red hats that you bought with credit cards, you're going to be in camps. You're going to be in camps when the crazy libtards elect some mustachioed revolutionary. Yeah, Barney. Yeah, Barney, you're going to a camp. So anyway, that's why I don't want to like or subscribe to the Katie Miller podcast, because I'm afraid of future lists that are going to be created. Elon Musk was on with her, and you know what Elon Musk told her? He told her that if he was given the opportunity to do Doge again, he wouldn't do it, and that it wasn't a success, and that they did some things, but it didn't work. Elon Musk said that if he was asked to do Doge again, he wouldn't do it. I thought it was all his idea. What do you mean if he was asked? Now Elon Musk is like, yeah, it was a terrible failure and they asked me to do. I think it was your idea, dude. That was all your plan from the beginning. You shit the bed. They kicked you out of Washington after like 3 months. You fucking failed. And now you're on the podcast of a woman you used to bang saying that if they asked me to do it again, I wouldn't do it. Say nothing of the fact that every normal person, and I ain't talking about libtards, I'm talking about normal people. Every normal person in America, when this Doge thing was going on, myself included, was saying, this is stupid. This is really fucking stupid. And now Elon Musk himself, with enough distance between the humiliating failure of this big stupid program, with enough distance, he's now acting like it wasn't all his idea. Remember with the chainsaw? I mean, before it was even a thing, he's on stage with a chainsaw going, this is what I'm going to do. And now it's something that he was asked. These guys are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here, let's look at Katie Miller. Why not, right? We should see what Stephen Miller is getting into. Hold on. Katie Miller. You know, maybe we'll listen to a little to Elon Musk. Yeah, let's do that. I haven't heard a whole lot of this. I just saw. There we go. All right, Katie Miller, Elon Musk. Yeah, man, she is way.
I think the story of Doge, from your perspective, has never been told. Do you think you were successful?
She is way too cute and sexy for Stephen Miller. There is no way. There is no way that he is pleasuring her sexually. There's no way that she is climbing into his pod in the middle of the night, exchanging larvae, or however the hell he has sex. All right, let's watch this. Here we go. Did a little bit. We'll get an idea for it. First of all, can I just say, look at that set. The set is absolutely gorgeous. And it's a set. Like, this isn't even really her living room. Like, she's trying to give the impression that this is just a laid back podcast, a conversation show, and we're in my living room. That's a TV set. That's how much money is behind this. They're not even using someone's actual condo. They're just doing this on like a film set somewhere. All right, let's watch a little of this.
A little bit successful. We're somewhat successful.
Would you ever do Doge again?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I think instead of doing Doge, I would have basically.
I could just look at her, man. She's too hot for Stephen Miller, right? She's too hot for Stephen Miller. And she is, by the way, I would say this. People don't really understand this. She is a Washington hottie. Okay. Now there is a difference between Washington hotties and, New York and LA hotties, right? Hollywood hotties are completely different. For Washington, she's a 10. She's a Washington, DC 10.
Built, worked in my companies essentially, and the cars. They wouldn't have been running the cars.
What's your biggest irrational fear?
I try not to have irrational fears.
None?
If I find an irrational fear, I squelch it.
If you have.
These two banged, okay? Can I just point that out again? These two used to be in a torrid sexual relationship. Many people say while she was engaged to Stephen Miller.
Had to start from scratch today with only $1,000. What would you do?
Well, I did originally come to North America with like, I don't know, $2,500.
Stephen Miller got cucked by the world's richest man. Oh, man, you can't do anything. All you can do is watch. That's it. You can't really fix that. That's a bad one. Peter with a Katie Miller comment. He says she must be into necrophilia. They aren't having sex. That's a marriage. That is what's known, ladies and gentlemen, as a marriage of convenience. She looks good on his arm. He enjoys that people like me have the reaction that we have when we see them together. Reminds me of the old Saturday Night Live bit. Hold on. Here. Wait, I actually got this. We'll show you this. This was like a whole string. Mikey Day always does it. Let me see. You got time today? I got time today. We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything crazy. Let's see here. It's funny that I was just watching this the other day. Hold on. Thank God for YouTube history, huh? Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay. This is it's an old Saturday
Heating
Night
companies
Live
get
bit.
pissed when you do this, but they can't do a damn thing about it.
Stephen
This heater
Miller
warms
married to an
entire
absolute
rooms in under 2
smoke
minutes,
show.
slashes heating bills by
Here we go.
90%.
Watch.
Okay, why don't we check back with Carpenter
There we
Steve
go.
a little later. Now,
Sorry.
let's talk about the biggest problem with your current house.
Oh, there we go. All right, here we go.
HGTV's Surprise Home Makeover Holiday Edition. Ho ho yay!
Hey there, Bedford Cheeks here, outside the home of Matt and Jacqueline Schacht, a husband and wife who entered and won a surprise home makeover. Let's go surprise them, huh?
Oh my God. You're Bedford Cheeks.
That's right. In the flesh, I'm looking for Matt and Jacqueline because they have just won a home makeover.
What? Oh my God, that's me. I'm Jacqueline.
And is your husband home?
Yes.
And could you go get him, sir?
This is him. This is my husband.
Hi, I'm Matt. Such a big fan, man. It's crazy.
This man is the man that you are married to?
Yes, I cannot believe we won. Oh my God, my mind is so blown right now.
Yeah, that makes two of us. Just so I'm clear, you two are married.
Last time I checked.
Would you check again?
When I asked you to marry me, you said yes, right?
You asked him?
Yeah, and on the third time, I finally said yes.
3 times? Okay, you know what? Let's just go inside. How about we go inside? Come on, folks.
Oh my God.
This is
I
crazy.
cannot believe this is happening to me. Like, I never get lucky like this.
All right. I would say that you get very lucky.
Oh, sorry about the mess. We weren't expecting company, so Matt's Smurf stuff is everywhere.
He's in the Smurfs! I'm sorry.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the Katie Miller and Stephen Miller pairing. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? Okay, let's see here. Peter in the chat room says YouTube sent him his year in review, and Pugs and Company was number 2, right behind the number 1 most watched videos of 2025 for me. Why was I number 2? I don't, look, it's good news, bad news. Bad news is that there's somebody that Peter likes more than me, which makes me sad. Makes me sad. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, God. I'm having fun. Now we got to not have fun because now there's a story that's going to have me all yelling and all angry. All right. Let's talk about the situation in Oklahoma, Stillwater, Oklahoma, the sordid case of teen baseball phenom Jesse Butler. Okay. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with the story. Jesse Butler was a 17-year-old high school baseball player. He was apparently very good. His daddy, as is always the case when something judicially goes squirrely in Oklahoma, he's got a connected daddy in their little small town. Although it's Stillwater, that's not a small town. I mean, it's small town for, Chicago or Dallas, but it's not small town for Oklahoma. That's like it's college town. It's like, probably a lot of stuff there. He had 2 girlfriends, and both of them accused him of rape, violent rape. He's apparently strangulation. Well, here, I'll give you the story. Okay. Where's the story? Here we go. Yeah, we'll choose the New York Post because the New York Post, what they give up on credibility, they gain in sizzle, which is all we're looking for these days. High school baseball star who pled no contest to a string of rapes walks free, sparking outrage from parents and lawmakers. An Oklahoma teen who was facing nearly 80 years behind bars after being convicted of raping and assaulting 2 high school girlfriends has dodged prison time altogether under a shocking sweetheart deal that has sparked outrage among victims' parents and lawmakers. Jesse Mack Butler, 18, avoided jail. Wait, you know what? I think we got, we don't have to. I think that's like a body cam arrest. I think we can actually watch the body cam arrest of Jesse Mack Butler. Hold on. Just give that some context. Body cam. All right, here we go. Body cam arrest of Jesse Butler. All right. So this is how it went down. This is the 18-year-old rapist there in Stillwater. This is how he got arrested. Here we go.
Ready to obviously tell our story too.
Yeah.
Jess, it's Mom. Open the door. It's me.
And if you'll just have him step out.
Okay. Give me your wallet and phone and stuff.
So that's Jackie the mom. Jackie the mom is at the center of the story. She's taken a lot of heat, and I feel bad for that. I also feel bad for Connected Dad. You know, I just on a human level, the idea that your child, I mean, their child is a monster. Their child brutally raped 2 girls in the small town, 2 girls that he dated. One of them was almost killed. He strangled her unconscious. So just imagine, I mean, there's a lot of levels to this. Like, you can watch this and you can see how the mom is behaving, and you can be very angry and be like, oh, screw that mom too. But I would ask you, what would you do in this situation? It's her kid, man. We have an ability when it comes to our children. We have an ability to just, block out the obvious and just focus on that pure parental support for the kid. I see him as a monster. I don't like that he's got this kind of parental support, but yeah, mom's taking a lot of heat for the way that she coddles him and stuff. But man, I just can't blame her. I can't blame her. This is her kid. Her kid raped other kids. That's horrible. Life is complicated. You can be upset. You can be angry. You can be incredibly disappointed and horrified at what this means for the rest of the life of your child. But I don't know, just a mother being a mother in this situation isn't worthy of all of that criticism. But okay, let's keep watching.
So, okay. You're what? They're in the car. Well, okay, it's fine. It's not locked or anything, is it? Okay, so can you tell him what you just told me, or?
Yeah, so we're here. We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. I told your mom that she can contact a bondsman, and you shouldn't be very long, but there just is a process for paperwork and stuff. But right now you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs, so turn around for me.
You have to put me in handcuffs? Hold on. You know we're doing this. So,
His mom just said to him, we're going to win this. This was like 2 years ago. They did. She said to him, we're going to win this. And they did. And that's the problem.
yeah. I'll get you out. All right? All right, stay silent. Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers.
Yeah, there you go.
So he's going to go right to the city Stillwater jail.
Apparently the prayers worked out for this kid because he is not going to face any jail time. Let's get into the details of what he actually is skating on, if you will, because he is skating. Jesse Mack Butler, 18, avoided jail time last week over the spate of sick attacks on 2 16-year-old girls in Stillwater back in early 2024, including one attack that left a victim close to death after being choked unconscious. Initially, Jesse Butler, then 17 years old, was charged as an adult and was slapped with 17 felony counts, including rape, attempted rape, sexual battery, and assault. I got a thought on this, just not necessarily tied to this story. Initially, Butler, then 17, was charged as an adult. He wasn't an adult. See, this is where logic and reason and actually being dedicated to the rule of law, this is where that gets squirrely because people's emotions get involved. He should not have been tried as an adult. He's 17 years old. Yeah, but he's going to be 18 in 2 weeks. So what? We draw that arbitrary line. It's not my fault. You know, it's like, well, you got to let a girl into a bar on the night before her 21st birthday? No. I mean, I know that happens, but no. So he should not have been charged as an adult. He should have been charged as a juvenile. Sorry. The idea of, but we're going to charge this 15-year-old gang member as an adult, that's punitive. That's illogical. That's also immoral. If the idea that there is a difference between juveniles and adult offenders is a decision that you made based on a moral code, which I think it is, that moral code is that a 15-year-old is not as responsible for their reaction or for their actions against society as a grown-up is. And to punish that child in the way you punish that grown-up or punish that child and house him with that grown-up is immoral. That's the idea. There is a difference between kids and grown-ups, okay? We have drawn that line based on this moral idea that children should not be housed with violent offenders. So just because we're angry about the circumstances of an individual's offenses doesn't mean we get to just change that. We should charge him as an adult because he's that much of a 17-year-old asshole. It always bothers me. I don't want to get off on a tangent on it, but it's always been something that bothered me. We draw that line arbitrarily. We got to stick by it. I know it doesn't always make sense. I know sometimes there are 17-year-olds with the mindset of a 35-year-old, and there are 35-year-olds with the mindset of a 12-year-old. I get that, but we decided to draw that line. He was originally charged, Jesse Butler. I want to show you his picture. Let's look at his picture while I go through this, just so we can see this handsome young man. That's the thing. He just looks like a fucking asshole. You know, I'm sorry. I grew up with boys. This looks like the fat kid on the baseball team who's a total asshole. There. Oh, we got all these pop-ups. Here we go. Hold on. There we go. Let's leave the young man right there and let's get back into his story, okay? I mean, I'm sorry. He looks like an asshole. But you know what? My kid looks like an asshole too. Hey, you ought to see him now. His hair's all over the place. What is this new teenage haircut that all boys have that is essentially just a bird's nest of unkempt hair on top? Said to him, I go, what are you trying to do? You trying to get a beehive going here? He's like, what's a beehive? I go, look it up. All right, let's get into the story of Jesse Butler and why he was let go after raping 2 girls violently. The baseball player pleaded not guilty to all charges, but later struck a deal with the DA to change his status from an adult to a youthful offender. Okay. That's where he should have been all along. So maybe it looks like in this case, the DA was just trying to scare him with that. And they always knew in the back pocket that once they came to trial, that they would obviously not charge him as an adult because he wasn't. And I don't care, but he was an adult at the time of the trial. It doesn't matter, man. It's an arbitrary line that we draw. If we are willing to go to the mats over the enforcement of arbitrary border lines, we need to be, as diligent when it comes to other arbitrary things that we've created. Everything is a construct, people. We either believe in the construct or we don't. Under local laws, the youth plea deal meant that Butler was sentenced last week to just 1 year of rehab. Despite facing roughly 78 years in prisons for the offenses he was charged with. It's appalling, the mother of one of the victims told. This is a slap on the wrist sentence. I received similar punishments for breaking curfew when I was a teenager, the mother added. It's a complete injustice to these girls and to future victims because, unfortunately, statistically, it won't end. Not only are you giving a slap in the face to these survivors, you are potentially putting other women at risk by not holding him accountable, another said. See, that's the thing about rapists. Rape is one of those crimes. Rape is not like being a burglar, or robbing a liquor store, right? Those are crimes of desperation, but mostly, I mean, sometimes it's just, some guy who's a bad guy, but mostly those are crimes of desperation. People rob liquor stores and shit like that because they're broke, because they have no other money for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. Well, maybe he shouldn't have been a junkie. Maybe he should have joined the army out of school. Shut up. I don't know. People commit crimes out of desperation. Rape is not that. Rape is not a crime that is only being perpetrated because the circumstances in the moment were right and there was an opportunity to be had. That's not what rape is. Rape is like something darker that is inside the person that I don't think is as surface or frivolous as common crime. Rape is like a child molester. Rape is like a pedophile. There is something in you. There is something wrong with you that you think you have a right over another person to sexually dominate them and take whatever you want when you want. That's not like being a burglar or a car thief or any drug dealer. It's not the same thing. So when I look at these kinds of laws, like, well, according to the way the laws are out, he's a juvenile. And, if he was a first-time offender, no, he's not a first-time offender. He's a first-time rapist. And it's not really like you go, well, he's never been stolen or he's never been convicted of stealing. So he is a first-time offender. No, this is a different category. They let this kid back out in the community. 18 years old now. 18 years old, raped 2 women. Everybody in the community knows he's a rapist. I mean, I'm sure his life can't be great. Probably got to move, change his name. That's what I would do before he gets back to raping, which I'm sure he's going to do. I mean, just look at this kid. The mom of the second victim also ripped this as a complete joke of a punishment. It's a complete injustice to these girls and to the future victims because, unfortunately, statistically, it's not going to end. This is a joke punishment, she said. It's not equivalent to what he did to them, she added. She then said, I told the DA I don't want him to get away with this because I cannot know that another mother is going to have to go through what I went through, she continued. By giving him youthful offender status, all the prison time went away. That's what the mom says. Well, that shouldn't be the case either. I mean, just because you're 17, I think doesn't mean that you shouldn't be incarcerated in some way. Maybe you even put them in like a state hospital, because I do believe that a person who rapes isn't a regular criminal. A person who rapes is a special kind of criminal in the category of murderer and child molester. Those are the big 3 for me. Anyway, here, we've got another piece of video here. This is when he was leaving the courtroom. He was leaving the courtroom the other day, and some people got on him. So let's watch old Jesse Butler there in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Guy who literally got away with raping 2 girls within an inch of their life. No, there it is. Boop, 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 boop. All right, here we go. This is old Jesse Butler emerging victorious from court.
Jesse, why did you rape those girls, Jesse? Jesse, why did you rape the girls? You have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? You have anything to say to the victims? Being loud is not a violation. Sir, you have anything to say to the victims? You have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? Why did you rape them, Jesse? Why did you rape the victims, Jesse? Why did you rape those girls? Why did you strangle them, Jesse? Jesse, why did you rape those girls, Jesse? Do you have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? Why did you rape those girls? Are you as dumb as they say you are, Jesse? that why you were adjudicated a juvenile? Because you're that stupid? Are you that dumb, Jesse? Why'd you rape the girls? Jackie, why are you defending your rapist son? Jesse, come on, talk to us. Why'd you rape the girls? Come on, Jackie. Let him talk to us. Let him explain why he raped them.
Do you feel bad for
Explain to us. Why'd you rape them?
Do you feel bad for being
All right, there you go. I'm not particularly a fan of that level of journalism. Why did you rape them? You're just fishing for a response. You say the most. That's TMZ journalism. It's what TMZ has been doing to celebrities on the street for 30 years now, 20 years, whatever, however long it's been around. You say something awful to a celebrity to try and trigger them to respond so that you get the picture of Sean Penn coming after you. That's the way it works. Let's see here. Maddie getting involved in this one. Maddie says violent crimes are typically charged as adults, depending on state law. Yeah, I know they are. I know but I've got a problem with that. I don't think the children are adults, and I think that we have made that decision based on a moral understanding of change, of people maturing, people becoming different as adults than they were as children. The reason that these violent crimes are often ratcheted up to let's charge this juvenile as an adult is simply because of one, awareness of the crime in the community, and a bloodlust for revenge. That's groupthink. The DA will ratchet it up. He'll charge him as an adult because he understands that is what the mob wants. That's groupthink. We don't make these kinds of decisions based on groupthink. We try and get the smartest guy in the room to sit down, and then we ask him what he thinks, and then we go with that. That's how we do it. Fucking mob think. Let's charge that kid as an adult. Sorry. That's not how it works. Let's see. What else do we have? Is there anything else? Is there anything else on that story that I want to talk about? Nah, we're good. I'll say this. I don't like Jesse Butler. I don't like him. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, here's a fun story. All right. So I got a take on this one too. So they did a study on, do you guys, do you like the grocery store? I know that sounds like a weird question, right? Like, what do you mean? Do I like the grocery store? No. Do you like the grocery store? Because I love the grocery store. I love it. I get excited. I go to grocery stores every day just to see what they got. Is there anything new on sale? I mean, granted, it has a lot to do with me living on a budget, but still fun. Hold on. Sorry. Gotta get rid of that. So I am a modern grocery shopper, which means that I use the app, that I do the digital coupons, that I do all the fun stuff. And most importantly, I do self-checkout. That's right. Been a proud advocate for self-checkout, was an early adopter of self-checkout. And I've told a lot of stories about how I became enthralled with self-checkout. It began as a personal challenge. The first time you saw self-checkout in a grocery store, you were like, you saw it, and then you looked over at the manned lines, and you're like, oh, how long is that line? And you had to make the decision. And you probably chose the self-checkout because there was nobody else there. Because you're all gutless. You're all afraid to look stupid. Anyway, I look stupid the first couple of times, but you figure it out. And now I am great. I am great at self-checkout. Beep, boop, beep, boop. And I'll tell you this, on occasion, I have inadvertently, because I'm not a piece of shit, stolen. I have stolen. I'll admit it. The story that I always say, I stole like a $40 box. Actually, I did steal this. This would be theft because if I'm being honest, I stole like a $40 box of diapers. I've stolen gallons of milk. I've stolen watermelons. I've stolen anything that goes on the shopping cart underneath. I have accidentally stolen because I've forgotten to scan it and I just rolled on out. First time it happened was with a $40 box of Huggies. Now, I bought a whole lot, and it was a big grocery trip. It was like this, that, and the other thing. And this is when we were still married. And so there was still money around. So I think I probably spent like $250 at the grocery store, right? One of those big grocery expeditions. And I'm wheeling out to the car, and I look and I notice that there's a thing of diapers, big giant Huggies diapers underneath. And I'm like, I didn't pay for those. And there was a minute where I went, oh, I should go back in. And then I looked around and I'm like, fuck it. I'm just taking it. It's also happened with watermelons. I've gotten my cart out to my car and I'm like, oh, fuck. Forgot the watermelon. Well, I ain't walking all the way back up there for a watermelon. So anyway, stealing, even accidentally, is built into the sausage of what self-checkout is intended to be. You see, the grocery stores, they decided that it was, they did the numbers. They had a numbers guy. They figured how much shit is going to get stolen. How much shit is going to get stolen if we go full self-checkout? They went, okay, all of that in 1 year, one store, this is how much is going to get stolen in self-checkout. Let's write that number down over here. And then they go, how much are we paying 10 cashiers for the entire year? And then they write that number down. And they go, oh my God, we are paying cashiers way more than we would eventually lose in theft. Let's fire all the human beings and not worry about what gets stolen. Hey, we're going to lock up all the laundry detergent behind bulletproof glass anyway. So that's the metric. They know that shit's going to get stolen. They just also know that they have to pay health care and a living wage to human beings if they don't want some shit to get stolen. So shit gets stolen. Not by me. I'm good at it now. I don't make those mistakes anymore. Flash to me getting arrested tonight because, no. But stealing from the grocery store is a thing. And stealing in general is a thing. I think it's big among teenagers, right? Did you ever steal as a teenager? I think we all go through this. I think we were all like, we get away with stealing stuff. We used to steal from Main Street. Where's Kevin Barber? Is Kevin Barber in the chat room? KB artist, big old thief back in the day. We used to go to, I think he started it. Kevin, are you in the chat room? Bet you don't tell your beautiful daughters about when you used to go to Main Street and steal shit. That's 50 years ago or 40 years ago, whatever it is, 30. Don't want to make us that old. So what we used to do is here's what I did. And I would just go to Main Street and I'd wear baggy sweatpants and I'd just put on pants, try them on in the dressing room and then walk out. Never failed. I think I did it like twice. I wasn't a big thief. I wasn't like a big illegal guy other than like underage drinking and stuff. I wasn't. But I did it a couple of times, and I don't know, everybody did it. Girls did it. Every girl I have ever known, every girl that I have ever known, it doesn't matter if they're a good girl, a cheerleader, whatever. If they're 15 and at the mall, they're stealing shit from Claire's Boutique. They are. Girls are the worst. They steal makeup. They steal, ladies in the chat room, you know what I'm talking about. You guys stole all kinds of shit. Now, I am categorizing all of these types of theft with children, teenagers. What? One can't charge me as an adult. It's not a big deal. This story here is about grown-ups. Grown-ups. If you're still stealing as a grown-up, you're either a criminal or, according to this, a wealthy person. That's the middle class, the working class, you and me, the everyday Joes. We don't steal. We don't steal at all. Of course, we know that impoverished people, crimes of desperation, they steal all the time. Well, maybe if they put the crack pipe down, maybe, but that's not the conversation we're having right now. Poor people steal all the time. Rich people apparently steal more than any other group. Rich people. Here's the story. Where is it? A new survey finds that the richest shoppers are also the boldest thieves and more likely to steal from self-checkout lanes than lower income shoppers. Let's go to no other source than Fox News, who did a report on this. Here we go. Fox News talking about this. We'll break it down ourselves. Here you go.
The report says wealthy people are most likely to steal from self-serve checkouts. Uh-oh. The report finding that 40% of people earning at least six figures admitted to purposely not scanning items at self-checkout. That's compared to less than a third of people making under $100,000 a year.
But that's self-reported.
It also found, Charlie, that men were more than twice as likely to steal at the self-checkout compared to women.
I don't believe the survey.
I don't use those self-checkouts. I hate them. I just would rather have a human interaction.
Yeah. Unless it works. I mean, if it's
and
working.
it also doesn't work. I'm always stuck, and I have to call the human anyway.
She's stupid. We don't need to listen to any more of her.
I think this is.
She's stupid. Can't figure out self-checkout. She's probably, and you know what? She's on Fox. She's like a Fox TV, but she's probably going to Trader Joe's, some bullshit, super expensive store. Oh, sorry. Is the self-checkout at Whole Foods difficult for you, Ainsley, or whatever the hell your name is? I don't know. Aren't all the Fox chicks named Ainsley or something like that? Okay, so rich people steal more. Specifically, let's talk about self-checkout, why rich people steal more. Why do rich people steal more? I'll tell you why. Because they don't give a fuck. They don't care. It's a thrill for them. If a rich person, let's say that you're somebody, he owns 2 car dealerships and he's there at the Kroger and he's boop, 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 boop. He's going to steal something because it's a way for him to sort of test the boundaries of civilized society, a civilized society of which he considers himself a leading community member of. It's a thrill. It's almost like a sexual thing. And here's why they do it and why they're willing to do it. Because if they get caught, it's not a big fucking deal. It is not a big fucking deal for a rich person to get caught stealing something at a Kroger. You want to know why? Because they're going to get a lawyer, unlike poor people who steal from the Kroger. They're going to get a lawyer, and that lawyer is going to talk to the DA, and it's going to get thrown out. You know why? Because the lawyer is going to say, these are rich people who can pay me, and we're going to go to fucking trial, and you're going to have to prove that it wasn't a mistake. That's what rich people know. Rich people know that they can turn this into such a problem for the local government, the prosecutor's office, over something so stupid that there really is no social repercussion for the rich person. Now, the poor person doesn't steal because they know, fuck, I'll be in handcuffs, then I'm going to have to call somebody to bail me out. Oh, man, and is this like first of all, I had that drug offense 5 years ago. This will be a violation of that, so then I'll go and I'll probably do some time in county awaiting trial. Right? That's what real people do. Now, why don't middle-class, hardworking people do it? Similar reasons. Hardworking middle-class people, we think that, well, we'll get put in handcuffs. How many times have you been in a Target and seen some lady getting put in the back of a police car, right? We don't want to be that person. The middle-class person understands that that's a real possibility for them, and it's probably not going to help their situation because they're middle class, they work hard, they don't have the excess funds to just fight it with an attorney. Middle-class people are law-abiding because breaking the law is too much of a financial burden on them, and they'd really just ignore it. Poor people, very similar reasons, but also poor people, you know, they will steal. Don't get me wrong, they will steal because they're on the list. They just don't steal as much as rich people. And again, the difference between poor people stealing and rich people stealing is that rich people have no fear of the repercussions of a petty theft charge. No fear. Same reason that when I lived in Highland Park, Texas, I drove through the streets of Highland Park like a gosh darn Mormon. A complete stop at every stop sign. You do the speed limit. None of this. It's 5 miles over. They give you 5 miles. No, they don't. Not in Highland Park. They will pull you over, especially if you're driving around in a Chevy Malibu like me. Now, does that stop my trophy wife neighbor from ripping up and down the street at about 75 miles an hour in her McLaren supercar? No. She doesn't fucking worry about it. Lomo Alto, if you look at a map of Highland Park, you will see a street called Lomo Alto, and it runs directly, it connects Mockingbird and Lemon. It is a straight shot. Lomo Alto is not heavily policed the way Armstrong is, which is another street right there in Highland Park. So Lomo Alto is the one that people in $500,000 cars get up to fourth gear in. And that's like 80. It's like 80 fourth gear. No, they do. Rich people don't care. They roll through stop signs. They don't fucking care. A super rich person in Highland Park they get pulled over for a stop sign violation, do you think that cop who makes, I don't know, 50 grand a year, whose job it is to police all of these billionaires and super rich people, do you think that cop is going to want to pull over somebody in a $500,000 car for rolling through a stop sign? No, because he knows that person probably knows the governor of Texas. You know what I mean? It's like, ugh. So they let rich people get away with shit. I have seen it with my own eyes. I have seen people obviously breaking the speed limit in a brand new AMG Mercedes rolling through stop signs right in front of cops in Island Park, and the cops don't do anything. Meanwhile, I have seen countless cleaning ladies in 20-year-old Toyota Corollas pulled over on the side of Preston being hassled. Rich people do not fear repercussions of everyday law violations the way normal people do. Those kinds of things fuck up the lives of normal working class people and poor people, but not rich people. And as I point out in Highland Park, police don't really pursue justice against super wealthy people, at least not to my own eyes. Maddie in the chat room, Maddie says, fast forward 20, I probably should have started earlier. All right, let's go here. Maddie's got a story about being a bad kid. Oh, what a surprise. What a surprise. Maddie says, I got in trouble once as a kid for opening a container of glitter in a craft store. My mom marched me back inside after I confessed in the car of what I did and forced me to pay for it. Says, cured instantly of any desire to shoplift or do anything similar ever since. Really, Maddie? Really? Because you're a crafty, smart, clever lady. I would think that you at 16 years old would figure out how to get all of your makeup for free. You know girls steal. Come on. All right, Maddie's the exception. Let's see here. She goes, mine was a mom and pop store. If it had been a quick trip, fuck it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I get that. She says, fast forward 20 years later, when I was in college, I worked a job in retail store, and the lady from the craft store who found the glitter mess I made was also working. Oh, look at that, friends. Isn't that nice? Hold on. Now I want to know more. I got to know more about this Maddie story. And she remembered me and the incident. So let this be a cautionary tale. All right. Thank you. We will let that be a cautionary tale. Rich people steal. Rich people do not have the same appreciation and respect for the rule of law that the rest of us have. It's another reason why I say we need to round up all the rich, steal their debit cards, credit cards. All right, what else do we have here today? What else is happening? All right, I don't know if I want to do that. All right, here we go. Why do I get to this story every day and I'm like, do I have the energy to do this? All right, let's do it. The F word. No, the other one. That's what this article is titled. It says here, a gay slur is having something of a cultural renaissance. Is that okay? Is the question that we are looking to answer here. Apparently the F word, the gay slur one, faggot. Hey, fag, don't be a fag. I'm going to say it. It's a stream, okay? I'm not working for CBS Radio. I can say these words. And it's not the same with the N-word. I choose not to say the N-word. I don't want to say the N-word. That's a problematic, stupid word that I have no interest in saying. But fag, not the same thing to me. Not the same thing. First of all, I didn't spend the 80s running around shouting out the N-word. I did the F-word. Oh, my God. In the 80s, when I was a kid, everything was a fag. You're a fag. He's a fag. Mom, stop being a fag. Everything was fag. Look at that faggot. You know, we didn't know what it meant. It was just a word that we used. Fag, jag off, you know, wimp. You know, it's just a word that we used. Now, I do understand intellectually looking at the word and the etymology of the word that it's been used to oppress people. You know, I get that. I understand why the word is problematic. I just don't think it really is. I mean, I understand why you think the word. I understand why some people think the word is problematic. I don't think it is. But let's get into this article and let's find out if at the end of this we can go around saying fag. It says this year, the word seems to be popping up in titles everywhere, in Broadway shows, at art openings, in role-playing games. What the fuck? Where's this guy hanging out? Maybe it's an example of the von Restorff effect. You guys ever heard of the von Restorff effect? I've never heard of it. Let's find out more. Like I didn't already read the article. I know what it is, but I'd never heard of it. The phenomenon in which we remember unusual things more vividly. Okay, so that's the von Restorff effect. The phenomenon where we remember unusual things more vividly. Okay, did we need a special name for that? I don't even know if that's true. But if so, I'm not the only one falling victim to it. My friends, colleagues, and fellow journalists have all noticed it too. The F word slur is back. Even in this article, he's still calling it the F word slur, even though he's saying it's back. If you're looking for personal guidance on whether you should use the word that starts with an F and rhymes with maggot, see what he did there, you gutless coward. Here's my imperfect and subjective rule of thumb. If you're gay, slur away. If you're straight, it can wait. When in doubt, leave it out. Oh, shut up. That's too much. So this is where we're coming down on this issue. This is like the N-word, which, by the way, I completely understand that contradiction where white people can't say the N-word, but black people can say it all they want. Completely down with that. Absolutely think that there are different circumstances that govern the use of that word, and specifically by the people who choose to use it. It's not the same thing with the gay word, okay? Gays, homosexuals, and blacks, if I may be so bold, are not the same class of oppressed minority. Never have been, never will be. The N-word was used against people that were enslaved, okay? It's a different kind of vibe. The F word is a word that was used by everybody to describe effeminate men. Effeminate men who were not oppressed or marginalized in anywhere near the same way that black people were. Why? Because a gay man until the 1990s could choose to be invisible. Society at large didn't see you walking down the street and go, that's one of them fags, the way they could with the N-word. It's a completely different thing. Gay people, I'm going to say this again, and I've got many gay friends, and that's probably, proof of what I'm going to say here. Gay people are not an oppressed minority. They're not. They were a shamed bit of civilized society. They were shamed for a lot of things, like their orientation was something bad. That was kind of a way we looked at it, but it wasn't the same kind of oppression that we could use on people who were oppressing due to ethnicity, skin color, religious practices, anything that is overtly obvious. A gay man is not overtly obvious. I mean, he is. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, we straight guys, we're pretty much, my gaydar is still really good. But the question is it the same level of historical oppression? And should the same rule apply to the way I self-govern my use of the N-word, which is never, and the way I'm going to approach using the F word, the fag word, which is a word that I just like to say. My son and I is 16 years old. We jokingly call each other faggots and we laugh because it's so funny. It's such a weird kind of insult for two people to. And I will also say that most people who use the word faggot are not using it as a gay slur. Now, I have seen that. Let's go get the faggot. I mean, that is definitely something terrible. And it's been used that way. But I mean, I think that Don't be a fag. Don't be a fag. Don't be an idiot. You know, I'm not looking at the chat because I'm actually got a different page open than I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the chat because I know Adam is freaking out. So I'm gonna go look at the chat right now. Okay. I want to see what Adam. There he is. There he is. Although maybe he's not freaking out. Let's read it. Adam says about gays, they are oppressed in ways you don't understand. And if you throw in trans, no, I'm not going to. Those are two completely different things. I know it's convenient for your side of the argument, but they are two completely different things. I would give you that in 2025 today, trans people are a seriously oppressed minority. They are people who have been tagged. They've been tagged very publicly by a lot of people over the last couple of years as being folks that should be marginalized. That's a real problem. Trans people are going through it. Gay people are not, Adam. It's not the same thing. Gay men are not struggling. There's not, big cities don't have ghettos that are just filled with gay men who can't get jobs and can't support themselves. It's a completely different thing. And again, unlike gay, trans people, it's, sorry to say, pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. You know, God love all these people choosing to live their life the way they want to. But most of you ain't fooling anybody. As a matter of fact, all of you ain't fooling anybody. And I say that, you know, I'll look at a man who is trans woman, right? And I'll be like, oh, that dude is hot. That's what I'll say. I will say that is a hot dude. Because some of them are very attractive, you know. But, you know, the deal breaker for me is the plumbing. It all comes down to the plumbing. But gays are not like trans. Trans are in a very particular hot corner these last few years. Gays run Wall Street. Gays run politics. Oh yeah, gays run tech. Gays run Hollywood. Gays run everything. They are not an oppressed minority. Stop it. Adam says, my 3 trans friends are also gay. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me try. I gotta do some mind wrapping here. All right. So I guess I have some follow-ups. Trans, what were they born? I know you're not supposed to ask that. What does that matter? Well, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this. What were they born as? So were they born as boys, transitioned to women, and now they're gay, which means that they are what? Lesbians? Fuck. And you know what? More power to your 3 friends. Good for you. Honestly, I don't know. I have a whole lot in common with those. I don't know. You know what I mean? Regina at the gallery. We never really talked about. I wanted to have her. See, look at how respectful I am. One of the people at the gallery is in this situation, and I always wanted, because we, when I'm not doing this, just talking, like I'm very blunt. I'm like, so what's it like having a dick and tits? You know, I'm very, very, and Regina's very cool and had all kinds of conversations. You know, maybe we should have her on. Because Adam seems to be, what is Regina? What does Regina want to have sex with? Oh my God, I don't even know. I just figured he's a gay man who dresses as a woman, who's trans, gay and trans. Isn't that always the thing? I mean, isn't that always the thing? All right, never mind. I'm going to stop talking. Because now I'm going to get Adam. Hold on. Adam's climbing up on his pedestal right now so he can look down on us and tell us all about what it's like to be trans. Let me tell you something. Not all trans are gay. Okay, not all trans are gay, but all gay. No, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Point is this. The fact that I'm so comfortable talking like this because there is absolutely no serious repercussions that I will have to deal with for simply pointing out that gay people are not oppressed. I am proving a point right here. If I was doing this about Jews, if I was doing this about blacks, if I was doing this about Muslims, well, I'd probably have a lot more listeners. That's for one thing. I think we know that. I think we know if this rant we were to stop me from talking about trans and gay and my understanding of that and who's oppressed and who's not, and I just went with let's get all the Jews, I'd probably have 1 million followers. No, I'm just trying to have regular conversations about these things. All right, so this brings it back to, should we say the F word? Probably not. Probably don't say the fag word, right? But I do want to drive this home. It is not the same thing as the N word. It is not. The F word, gay men, and black people are not the same thing. Well, wait, not only are they not the same thing, but what I mean is it is not the same level of, oppression. There you go. I can't stop you. I can't stop you, Adam. I can't stop you. Stop with you. It says the 3 women are trans women who are with women. So that would be, so they're straight. So they're straight. The 3 women are trans women. So that means they were born with penises and still have penises. Okay. So penises. We're talking about penises as far as, sexual orientation go here. So we got penises with boobs. One of them is with a cis. Oh, fuck. What the fuck does cis mean again? What is cis? It's like straight, right? Why the fuck did we have to invent another word? Cis. I don't use cis. Don't use that word. Ugh, it just makes people who use words like that just irritate everybody. I know you don't get it, but you're part of the problem. You're introducing new words about orientation to cis woman. All right, let me try and break this down. 3 women are trans women who are with women. So trans women means they have penises. So there are 3 penises who are with a woman. That's heterosexual. I don't care what kind of top or skirt you're wearing. If you have a dick and balls between your legs and you're having sex with a vagina, that's heterosexual, no matter what the hell else is going on. All right. The 3 women are trans women who are with women. Boom, heterosexual. One of them is with a cis woman. You didn't tell me that the other women were with lesbians. Because how can those... Oh, God, this is so confusing. I love you, Adam. I love you and I have fun with you, but I don't know. Your world is wild. Oh, Byron. Byron, of course, the antithesis of Adam. Byron is over here. Adam is over here. Byron says, fuck that fantasy crap. Bring back asylums. Lock them back up. That's pretty harsh. Okay, so I'll address that. Yes. We absolutely need to bring back asylums. Okay? Absolutely. There wasn't anybody else old enough to remember when there wasn't a homeless problem in this country? Is anybody else old enough to remember the early 80s and late 70s and, even mid 70s when you could drive around any neighborhood that's near a freeway and there wouldn't be dozens of homeless people living under the freeway? Anybody remember that? Because that was a very real thing in America until Ronald Reagan became president and decided that we didn't need mental health care facilities in this country to be subsidized by the government. So he closed them all down. And that's when we started having a homeless problem because those people had nowhere to fucking go. So if a super conservative right-wing guy like Byron is saying that we need to bring back asylums, I'm with you, brother, but that's a very liberal. Mental health is very serious among the libs. They would be with you on that, Byron, and look at us working together. No, we do. We need to have places, and I think the government needs to play a role in this. If the government is going to police, quite literally, society in other ways, they need to take some sort of initiative in making sure that we don't have, crazy people running around. We have taken absolutely no societal interest in the mental health of the people we share oxygen with, and that needs to stop. So yeah, I'm all for that. Let's bring the asylums back. Although here's a problem. So where I'm from, Tinley Park, Tinley Mental was like one of the big major asylums in America. It was a big one. And it closed down when Reagan closed them all down and let everybody out. And Tinley Mental is at the corner of Harlem Avenue and I think like 183rd, maybe something more than that in Tinley Park. It is adjacent to I-80 Expressway. It is a massive, it's like a university, but it's all closed down. And everything, all the weeds are growing, it's just weird. The buildings have like branches. It looks like one of those A&E shows or History Channel shows. What will the world look like in 1,000 years? Where everything's overgrown. That's what this plot of land looks like. And they're talking about building a theme park there. So I say, let's do the theme park. And let's build a new Tinley Mental somewhere else. It is like the most incredible plot of land in the south suburbs. You can build a stadium there. As a matter of fact, that was when the Bears were like talking about moving around. They got involved. They're like, hey, we got a place. We can put the stadium right here. Driving around my neighborhood as a kid, they had those signs. Do not pick up hitchhikers. Why? Because it's probably an escaped mental person. That freaked me out at 7. The idea that in my neighborhood there could be like, mental people escaped. And not even my neighborhood. I mean, if I'm being honest, I grew up like 5 miles from that place. But still, there were signs on streets near my house that said, don't pick up hitchhikers. All right. So we're done with that. Let's see. What else do we have? Should I jump back in with Adam? Let's jump back in. Adam says, but answer my question as to would you feel fine using Jewish slurs since they're not an oppressed class? No, because of the way they've been oppressed. Yeah, no, I don't. I think we lay off the Jews too, because historically, Jewish people, simply because of their religious beliefs and the way they manifest themselves publicly, Jewish people, especially devout and Orthodox Jewish people, dress a certain way. They're easy to pick out in a crowd, and they're easy to sort of subjugate that way. So no, not the same thing. I don't think that a gay man and a Jewish person is the same thing either. Yeah, there you go. Hope that answers your question. Although I'm absolutely certain that you are not satisfied. No way. All right. The F word is coming back and only the gays are allowed to say it. That's the basic takeaway from the article that we just went through. What else do we have here? Okay. So the actual list hasn't come out. We're only seeing these like little droplets of information. I talked about it last Tuesday or Monday, I think it was. And that is the yearly Pornhub fetish survey, which is released every year at the end of December. I told you about a story that was circulating in advance of the release of the full Pornhub survey. I told you about a new fetish. What was it? Armpits? Yeah. What's it called? Pitting? I don't know. But like being sexually aroused by armpits is now the number 5 fetish on Pornhub, which is very weird. The whole Pornhub survey, again, it hasn't been released yet, but they are dribbling and drabbing out little pieces of information. Here, this map was sent out. I don't even get this. This map was sent out on, I guess it was Twitter where I saw this. So this purports to tell us, and again, the actual survey hasn't been released, but it purports to tell us what the world's most viewed categories are by nation, by country. So I wanted to share this with you. Let's see, America. Over here in America, we love the lesbian stuff. America, Mexico loves the lesbians. Alaska loves the lesbians. I don't see Hawaii represented. By the way, see how we're looking at this map, you guys? So like whenever I look at a map, like in my mind, I think Hawaii is right here. See like right where my thing is? All right here. Do you do that too? Do you think that like Hawaii is just like 300 miles off the coast of Mexico? Because of maps, that's how I always view Hawaii. And I know that's not true. All right. So America's big on lesbians. Canadians like MILFs. That's nice for them. That's nice. That's like a nice, normal, like lesbians. That's a little kinky. We're like, yeah, Americans like to watch two chicks together. Not Canada. They just like they like a sexy grown woman. That's kind of nice for Canada. All right, what else we got? Down here in this part of the world, Brazilian. That's like a wax job. They're really into waxed girls who are waxed. Is that actually Brazil, or is that? I don't know what part of the country this is. One of these is Argentina, and one of these is Brazil, and I don't know which is which. If you gave me a blank map and you're like, you write the country, I'd be like, ugh. You would be so upset with me. You'd be like, oh, Jesus, did he not pay attention in geography at all? I don't know what this is. Is this Brazil or is this Brazil? And where does Argentina factor in here? And while we're at it, Venezuela. I should learn where Venezuela is since I think we're about to go to war with them. Anyway, they like Brazilian waxes in this part of South America and then anal in all the rest of South America. They like anal. Whatever. Let's see here. Wait, anal. Okay, yeah, anal is green. All right, what else do we got? Let's move over to Africa. No surprise here. Although South Africa, they love the ebony. They love the ebony in most of Africa, except in North Africa, where they're really into Arab categories of sex. How exciting is that? Let's see here. Let's move down. Australia. Look at them. They're like our brothers from the Upside Down. Australia. They like lesbians too. They're just like us. They're just like us. Japanese. What are the Japanese like? Oh, Japanese is. I don't know what this is. They like MILFs in most of Europe. In Italy, they like Italian. Okay. Try to be more xenophobic. Let's see here. What do we got here? In the United Kingdom, they seem to like what the hell? What the hell? I don't even know what color that is. I can't even tell what color it is. I don't know. All right, is there anybody that I'm missing? Yeah, I think that's it. I think we've pretty much covered it all. Oh, wait, what's this? Russia likes trannies? That's the takeaway from this. Look at this. Transgender all over Putin's Russia. Now, I don't know if this is just political bullshit or if that's real, but it's very funny. There you go. The Russians like transgender. And the number 2 category in Russia was small dick humiliation. Those are the 2 things they like in Russia. Chicks with dicks and small dick humiliation. Good job. Good job, Russia. I don't even know if that's true. It was something that was floating around on Twitter. I did absolutely no due diligence. I did absolutely no fact checking on that. What else do we have today? Hey, was there a UFO over Dallas last night? I saw it was being reported on a number of local news sites. Here we got some video of it. This comes to us from our good friends at Dallas, Texas TV. Follow them for all kinds of really cool video and breaking news from around the Metroplex. This was last night. Here, let's see if we can't get a good look at it. If you guys remember, about 2 months ago, and I know this because it was just before I made the move back, 2 months ago, I posted myself some video of something that I saw in the sky over Dallas. We know what that turned out to be, but let's look at this. Here we go. Last night over Dallas. See if you can figure out what this is. Okay, looks like a big smoke ring. Okay, something created a smoke ring, whatever this is here. Guys, you know my number 1 rule, right? Okay, first of all, maybe you don't. Maybe I need to catch you all up on here. I was abducted by aliens when I was young. Okay, don't have time to go into that whole story. But ever since then, I have been absolutely obsessed with the question of, are we alone? A question that I feel like I've had answered since I'm 8 years old. We are not alone. So I'm very much into this stuff. Call me crazy. Pugs, you're crazy. Whatever, that's fine. I know who I am and I know what my life experience has been. This stuff is real. There is, you know what? I don't even want to do this. I don't want to do this. But I will say this. There is an incredible documentary that has recently been released called Age of Disclosure. I believe you can find it on, it's a pay-per-view thing. I got a special copy of it because, you know, I'm one of the ufologist dudes. It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. It is the best. It is it's not incredible. It is the opposite of incredible. It's credible. It is the first serious, credible documentary about the question, are we alone, that I have ever seen. And I have seen all of them. And just so you understand where I am on all this stuff, you know, the A&E or History Channel or TLC stuff, Ancient Aliens with the guy with the crazy hair. Yeah, fuck all of that. I don't watch any of that nonsense. That is the stuff for stupid people, okay? There is a serious sort of world of people who are interested in these things and who want serious answers and who aren't just a guy on A&E with crazy hair. You know the guy I'm talking about, the crazy UFO guy? That does nothing for the issue. That guy does nothing but set the issue back years. Serious people, smart people, accomplished, incredible people are now talking openly about what they know. Age of Disclosure. I'm going to show you the trailer from it so you can see what I'm talking about. But if you are even slightly interested in the subject of Are We Alone, you need to see Age of Disclosure. Here we go. Back to what happened over Dallas last night. Okay, so now this thing looks like an old Xbox controller. At this point, it looks like a flying Xbox controller. To my eyes, this is one single thing. And notice I say to my eyes, because from my perspective, the way I'm looking at it, it looks like one thing. It very well may not be the case. This may just be reflective light. This may be any number of things. But to me, it looks like a 25-year-old Xbox controller making a slow turn in the sky. The other thing that I always kind of tell you guys, if you see something weird in the sky, if you see something and it's up there and you're like, my God, that doesn't look like an airplane. Here is what you got to look for. You got to look for the FAA transponder. Okay. If you're looking up in the sky and you see something that looks curious to you, that you don't understand, but you can see a blinking light, yeah, don't worry about it. That's earthbound. That thing is complying with FAA rules. So no matter how weird it is or how strange it seems to be flying, if it's got a blinking light, it is in accordance with FAA flight rules. That's how you can eliminate whether or not something is truly an unidentified flying object or just something that you don't recognize. If there is a blinking light, ignore it. It's normal. Why? Because aliens probably wouldn't be trying to, accommodate Federal Aviation Administration standards. They don't give a shit about that, right? So there are no blinking lights on this. No blinking lights on this. This thing is just a solid illuminated light in the sky. Over Dallas last night. All right, there you have it. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, that was a Falcon rocket. that was a Falcon rocket launched from Houston, just in case everybody, because for a couple hours last night, everybody was like, blah, blah, blah. And then, you get into a couple of threads and you start to see these announcements from, Johnson Space Center and, all of that kind of stuff. That was a Falcon rocket that was being tested. It was launched from Houston. And yes, most of the people in the state of Texas saw it last night. But for a couple hours in Dallas, we were all like, UFOs are coming. UFOs. Let's get back to Age of Discovery. Age of Discovery is the documentary that I watched a couple of weeks ago. I want you to see it. I want you to see what it is because I don't want you to think that it's some stupid History Channel bullshit, okay? Age of Disclosure. I'm so sorry. It's Age of Disclosure. Am I saying Age of Discovery? It's Age of Disclosure.
Monday.com
They've been making this movie for years.
The opposite of any work platform we tried in the past.
People like me,
We tried other work
who are a bit
management
obsessed with
platforms,
this kind
not
of
naming
thing, we've
names.
been waiting
They all
for its
suck.
release, and it's finally been released. It was in theaters. It is probably going to be nominated for an Academy Award. Most of the critics and all that who have seen this are saying that this is probably going to be nominated for an Oscar in the category of documentary. So there you go. So you might be rewarded by watching your thing win a trophy at some point. It is the most credible documentary on the subject of UFOs and do they exist and do we know they exist and are we in contact with them? It is the most credible documentary I've ever seen. And if you're unfamiliar, wait till you see some of the people who are willing to go on camera and say, yeah, I believe. Here it is, Age of Disclosure.
The American people are ready to receive the truth.
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists. UAPs are real. They're here, and they're not human.
By the way, they're not doing what they do actually in the video, whereas, they tell you who these people are. These people are all generals and admirals in the United States military, okay? These are all retired generals and admirals and CIA guys. That's who these people are. Now, some of them are going to start to be very recognizable to you. You're going to be like, holy shit, that person just said that?
I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
The one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomena. For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic. We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings. The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroids.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need to.
Secretary of fucking State of the United States of America is all over this documentary going, oh yeah, no, we got shit. We got shit and it's real. And the big question now is, how do we tell the people and do we tell the people? The fucking Secretary of State of the United States. Okay, when I say this is the most credible, and by the way, he's not alone. Wait till you see these other people, former defense secretaries and, directors of national intelligence, all openly talking about how they believe in UFOs and aliens. This is a fascinating documentary because it's not about that question. It almost like takes us one step past that question. This documentary jumps off from the point of, yeah, shut the fuck up, they're real. And then the real question is, how are we and other nations on this planet dealing with this? China, Russia, us, India, South Korea, apparently all of these countries have, their own. It's not just America. Right? It's not just, we saw a light in the sky all over the world. Everybody's got a Roswell. Everybody has supposedly recovered something. These are incredibly serious people in this documentary saying shit that 20 years ago, if they'd gone on a documentary, it would have killed their careers. But now, a sitting Secretary of State of the United States, we're looking at him right now, is essentially confirming that, no, this is real stuff. We don't know what it is, but we're competing with Russia and China to try and reverse engineer the technology. I know I sound like a crazy person. Well, you know what? Me and the fucking Secretary of State of the United States of America are a couple of crazy people. You people are the ones who are crazy. You people who are rolling your eyes at this are the ones who are so fucking cheating yourself because you refuse. Maybe it's fear. Earlier today, I talked about how we live in a fear-driven society. We are all fear-based. We're afraid of what happens next. As a species, the human race are cowards. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why you still know. Oh, Pugs is going crazy on his UFO stuff again. You're afraid. You're afraid of what might be real. You're afraid of what you don't understand. You're afraid of what this means for your God. Think of what the revelation to the human population, think about what would happen next, especially to religions. Wait a second. Our God, we were created in his image. Who's their God? And can their God beat up our God? Do you see all the kind of fucking shit that's going to be a problem here? It's going to be a real problem. But I'm telling you, people are finally starting to talk about it. People are finally starting the Freedom of Information Act and all kinds of congressional hearings. We've seen 3 major congressional hearings in the last 2 years on this subject with serious people speaking publicly on the record about what they know. And now here's the Secretary of State of the United States.
No base.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis. But that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret.
Like, I hate Kristen Gillibrand, but here you go. This is a high-end member of the Democratic political party. She's not a congressman from Nebraska's 3rd. She is a fucking senator from the state of New York. She's in Hillary Clinton's seat, okay? And she's not afraid to go on the record with this stuff.
Parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful that a government doesn't trust its people, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
I'm telling you, man, it's good. I've been sitting on that for a couple of weeks, and the story about the thing over Dallas last night, it made me go, you know what? I ought to rant about age of disclosure. I know these people don't want to hear about it, but it's actually pretty good. Here's my one critique about age of disclosure. In watching it, I would have liked to have seen more of the footage. Now, I've seen all the footage because I spent a lot of time on YouTube, and I've, subscribed to a number of these things. So anytime there's good footage that gets out, I get an alert and all of that. So I'm up on it all. But I'm watching this thing thinking about you guys. I'm watching this thing from the perspective of somebody who doesn't really think a whole lot about this, and they're just going to sit down and watch this. I'm watching it from that perspective, and from that perspective, I would have liked you guys to have seen some more of the mind-blowing video that's out there. There's a lot of mind-blowing video it's all the stuff that was presented to Congress. It's all the stuff that has been declassified and released by the military. All of that stuff is in there. I would have liked to have seen more of it because, I love that stuff. But what the movie really is they seem to have, instead of going for the fantastic, which is endless clips of shit that cannot be explained. Instead of going for the fantastic, they went for the credible. And they just sat down with credible people, professional people in positions of authority, people from the government, people from private industry, people from universities, astrophysicists. They sat down with these people and had serious conversations about this question. And if you still roll your eyes the way you did in 95 while watching Geraldo when he had a panel of people who were abducted by aliens, shame on you. Shame on you. It is the biggest story in human history. And we could be on the verge of it becoming a real thing. Adam says weirdos will somehow co-opt God into it. Yeah. Well, now, yeah, I'm with you. Adam, you and I are together on this. The God Squad, they turn everything weird. They, like I always say, man, I was raised by devout people, and I think that having a faith and a belief in your faith is incredible. And if it's something that gets you through, quite literally, God bless. That's terrific. But, the weirdos, there's a lot of weirdos out there who try to push everything on us. And you're right. They will somehow be able to rework this revelation that we are not alone into something that benefits their belief. Because quite frankly, I think most of those people, especially the loudest ones, they're only in it for the money. So the devout, the truly devout will have to have some quiet moments. The truly devout will have to, go lock themselves in a closet, close their eyes, and really think this shit through. What does this mean for everything you've been taught? Here's what I think, though. And this is sort of a way that I think you can bridge, the issue with devoutly religious people who are going to rebel against this or, commit suicide en masse or whatever. I don't know why they would do that. But here's what I think. And it's not a compromise, but it is what I think. I think Jesus was an alien. I think that every time scripture talks about angels, I think they're talking about aliens. I think that there was probably a major event in human history, one that we still fucking talk about today and go to a building every Sunday and pay homage to. So obviously an event took place in human history that was more than seismic, right? Something happened. There is no way, right? Whatever Jesus is to you, Jesus is a person that existed, and he did have an impact, and the legends and the stories only grew over time. I mean, the story of Jesus and that whole thing, that is probably the single most impactful thing that has ever occurred in human history. It's the only story we know from back then. That would be an indicator that I'm probably right. Tell me chapter and verse, other things that happened way back then that we know everything about, that grown, rational human beings dedicate huge portions of their lives to becoming very astute and scholarly in. Nothing. So obviously something happened back then. The Jesus thing, the ascending back to heaven, I'm telling you, I think that was first contact. And we've just been framing it differently because we didn't understand the story of Jesus and the angels and all of that. That came thousands of years ago. Those people had no way to, in telling the story, describe it as an aeroplane or something because nothing flew but birds back then. They didn't know how to describe it. So what we now know based on science and, a couple thousand years of life, what we now understand as, that was an alien spaceship. It came down. It picked up Jesus after we tortured him. We caught an alien. We tortured the alien. And then the alien's people came down and took him back. Or whatever. I don't know. But is that any nuttier than the story that people have just bought into, lock, stock, and barrel? Healing the sick and walking on water and all that stuff. Those sound like pretty good tricks. And if we're going to believe them, I'm going to tell you that I think it's an alien trick. I think it's a Superman thing. All right, there you go. Well, that cleared out the show. I just looked at the numbers. Pugs, whenever you talk about religion or when you go on a rant like that, nobody fucking cares. Sorry to challenge what you think and understand to be truth. All right. I got a couple more things that we can do here, but just like every day, I got to take a tinkle. Can I go to the bathroom? Do you guys mind if I go to the bathroom? I'm going to take a quick break. We come back. We got some other stupid things that we'll get into. It's at this point that I will remind you, help out the show, please. It's going to be a blue Christmas around these parts if we can't get this show funded. So drop a little something if you can. And if not, I still love you. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I mean, seriously, you guys, do you even know what archaeologists have found out about the Sumerian people? I don't even. The aliens have been here forever. Some of us, some of them are mixed in with the rest of us. I believe that too. I absolutely believe that. I believe that aliens. Hi, everybody. I'm back. I went to the bathroom. I'm sorry. I do believe that aliens have, over the course of the past 2,000 years of known human existence, and I know that there goes back further than that, but how far back are we going to go? How far back do humans go? 2,000 years is pretty much back to the time of Jesus, but we got to predate that by ancient Egyptians and all that shit, because that's actually when I think the aliens showed up. Pyramids and all of that. All right, that's enough. I'm sorry. I just can't stop thinking about it. It is the biggest story in human history, if true. And if not, that's all fun. We're all just having fun if it's not true. Barney says, I think Pugs could be a rich man if he went full Art Bell. Here's the problem. No such thing as late night radio. No such thing. I love late night radio. I love it. I cut my teeth in late night, overnight talk radio back when it was still a thing. I was privileged to work for a legend in Chicago late night talk, a guy by the name of Chicago, Eddie Schwartz. He was my first job. And what was cool about that was because, he was a dude that I listened to every night. Live, local, community-based talk radio in the middle of the night. It was excellent. It was a thing. And now they just, they don't give a shit. Anything that happens on the radio, that you listen to your radio wherever you are, anything that happens on the radio after 6 p.m., all right, unless it is a live sporting event, is absolute garbage. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They're not paying anything for it. Here's how little they care about their overnight space. In Dallas, as an example. So there are a number of channel stations in Dallas who overnight do nothing but air sports betting content. Why? Because the gamblers, the gambling companies and all that, they still spend money. So in markets like Dallas, where you can't even use FanDuel, where you can't even bet on your phone the way you can in other places that have real American freedom, there's still radio stations are still airing shows promoting something that it is illegal for you to do in Dallas. That's how bad overnight radio is. So would I love to do overnight radio? Yeah, but the only way that it works now, I would love to do local overnight radio, man. Look, what do you want to give? What do you want to give me? Let's talk. All right, $50 an hour? No? Okay. All right, let's start the negotiation there. I want $50 an hour. I want 4 hours a night. I want 5 days a week. Even that's not a lot. Think about that. That's 200. That's 2 times 5. It's 1,000. It's 4,000 after taxes. Oh my God, there is no money in radio anymore. There is no money in radio anymore. They wouldn't pay it. Who's Charlie Jones? Peter's like Art Bell and Charlie Jones. Who's Charlie Jones? Why do I know that name? Hold on. Who's Charlie Jones? Isn't that a guy from the Grand Ole Opry? Isn't that Grandpa Charlie? Wasn't there a guy, Grandpa Jones or something? There was a guy who played football named Charlie Jones. I don't know who Charlie Jones is. Do you mean Charlie Rose? You mean Charlie Rose, don't you, Peter? Yeah, I think he means Charlie Rose. Charlie Rose is could be alleged sex offender, right? Didn't he get canceled? Charlie Rose? Something like that? Yeah, I don't know. Barney, in the early aughts, I worked overnights as a security guard in Las Colinas. That's where I found PNK. Yeah, man, I've got a real love for late nights. It's how we started in Dallas. We were in Chicago, and then Dallas became a thing. And so we were doing the overnight show. And then because of people like Barney, actually, no, you want to know what? We fucking blew up overnights on 105.3. We blew it up Look, there's no way to actually back that up with ratings or anything, because first of all, it's like 25 years ago. And also, I don't think Safe Harbor, which is the time we were in, I don't think there would be ratings for anyone. Point is this: we made real noise in nights, Kelly and I, when we first came to Dallas. We were doing things that just weren't being done anywhere else on the radio, and people took notice. And we were only there for 5 months. We started in March, and I think it was by August that they had decided that they wanted to replace Ron and Don, who were the midday show, with us. That wasn't the intention. The intention originally was we wanted to do a national overnight show. There was a show called John and Jeff that was nationally syndicated out of Los Angeles at the time. And John and Jeff were on in, a whole bunch of markets. And John and Jeff sucked. And Kelly and I, we got the ear of the right people, and we said, we want to do that. Let us show you that we can fucking beat John and Jeff, that we are better than what they do. And so they gave us the shot, and we did. And instead of them giving us John and Jeff stuff, they said, no, we think you'd be better on a primetime slot. And we're like, no, that's not the plan. The plan is we want to be coast to coast in the middle of the night. That's what we want to do. That's the dream. Coast to coast, middle of the night. And they're like, why don't you come down to Dallas and do middays? And we're like, coast to coast, middle of the night. And that was back in the days when people made money and they showed us on the mountain. We went, okay. And we were wrong in the beginning. We should have taken that the whole time, because Dallas turned out to be the absolute best decision that we ever made. But yeah, we wanted to be an overnight show. That was the plan. Bars, talking to people in bars. It's not a thing anymore, though. And it's, there is no such thing as late night radio listeners anymore, because there is hardly a thing called radio listeners anymore. All right. Anyway, moving on. Peter says, I guess Jones is a real person. I was thinking Charlie Rose, but Peter says, no, that Jones had a late night local call-in show back in the 80s and 90s, right before you got here. So Charlie was a Dallas guy. Maybe that's why the name sounded familiar. Maybe that is somebody that, I heard of, or maybe even met. I don't know. Anyway, as we announced in the beginning of the show, good news coming to Radio Misfits, dropping January 1st. It is the long-awaited and much hyped What Happened to Live 105.3. Live 105.3 was a station that we're talking about here, and it was very successful. And then one day it went away. Well, the ratings must have been no, ratings were killer. All the shows were sold out. As a matter of fact, there was a long waiting list to advertise on the shows. That station could have gone on for another 10 years. What are we talking about it now? Are we talking about it now? Am I getting into this? So anyway, the podcast, the 10-episode series, What Really Happened to Live 105.3, we started doing interviews about 2 years ago, just talking to everybody associated with 105.3, at least the people that I decided we could talk to. Because that really is. I mean, there may have been, like, JD Ryan isn't involved, because JD Ryan said some really shitty things about my kid when he died, and he thought it was funny on the radio, or he laughed at some shitty things that somebody said. Russ Martin made a joke about my kid dying, and JD Ryan laughed, and I never fucking forgot that. I'm sitting in my car listening to it. My kid just died, and I hear Russ Martin making jokes about it. I believe the joke was, even that kid didn't want to be around him. And JD Ryan laughed. Now, it may have been reflexive. I don't give a fuck. I thought JD Ryan was like a Jesus man. I thought he was a man of God and all that shit. Oh, no. Not only that, but he, maybe it would have been different if, the next day or something, JD Ryan had stopped me in the hallway and said, hey, look, I'm really sorry. I heard what happened. But no, not a single motherfucker from that show other than Dan O'Malley and the usual suspects, the decent people. But no, yeah, so, that's why JD Ryan isn't represented in this, because, fuck that guy. I don't give a shit what that guy thinks. But we got Jagger. Oh, my God, we got everybody. We got Jagger. We got the aforementioned Dan O'Malley. We've got Val. Val is there. We've got Jasmine. We've got Sybil. We've got the last interview of my partner Kelly's life. My partner Kelly sat down with us. Of course she did, and she gave her side of things, trying to answer the question, who killed Live 105.3? Coming to Radio Misfits January 1st. Peter, were you a paper boy? Oh my God, that bit we used to do paper wars. We used to do we were on all night long, man. That was the thing. We're like, no, give us 5 hours. We want to go right up to the time Stern starts or right up to the time that you break into your morning stuff. We want all the overnight hours. We're just going to hang out. We're going to talk. We're going to have fun. And one of the things, and this was Kelly's idea. Kelly was obsessed with there being two different newspapers. All right, so here's a little back behind the scenes thing on how the Paperboy Wars bit that we used to do got started. Kelly was in Chicago. We have a lot of newspapers. Like there's the Chicago Tribune, there's the Chicago Sun-Times, there was the Chicago Daily News. You know, there's big newspapers, and they're all in the same city. But Kelly was fascinated by the idea that there could be a newspaper, a big respected newspaper, the Dallas Morning News, and then like a couple miles away, but not in the same city, another big respected Pulitzer Prize winning paper in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. So she was obsessed with that. And she wanted to kind of see if there was a difference between the two newspapers. Like, for instance, here in Chicago, the Sun-Times and Tribune are two very different newspapers that target two very different groups of people. And by that, I mean Republicans and Democrats. So she was kind of interested in how it broke down in Dallas. So to that end, she came up with an idea that why don't we talk to guys who are out delivering papers in the morning? Why don't we have a representative from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram who is delivering papers and a representative from the Dallas Morning News who's delivering papers, and we'll have them pull over, and then they will do dueling headlines. It was all her idea. It was a great bit. It was a great bit. We had some really good paper boys who would come on. Peter, were you one of the paper boys? Let's see here. No, he says he was a paper boy for 16 years, but he wasn't one of our paper boys. Anyway, good memories. Good memories. All right, let's see. What else do I have to do here? We're doing some cleanup here, so we're just going to look at... nope, page down. Don't want page down. I certainly don't want the script for the Rant show that I did in April of 2025. I paged down a little too much. All right, so we did the UFO. Here's a piece of video we can watch. Here's a feel-good video. Here's a hug your kids and tell your mother you love her kind of video. You know that one of the things that I am obsessed with is death. Yeah, I talk about it all. I'm obsessed with death. Now to be completely, let's frame this properly. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of death. I don't want it. I'm not sitting here going, come on, bring it on. But I'm not afraid of it because it's there for everybody. Everybody goes through it. At some point, as they say in the rodeo world, one day it'll be your turn in the barrel. And we all have to just get right with that. A lot of people live their lives fearing death, fearing the unknown and all of that. I'm kind of interested. Because you know what I think is going to happen? Either I'm going to die and a whole new thing is going to be illuminated for me, or I'm going to die and, nothing. So can't really be afraid of nothing. And I'm a little bit excited about maybe it going the other way, where it is, I'm sleeping on clouds and I'm dating, who's a hot dead chick? I'm sleeping on clouds and I'm dating Jane Mansfield. This is my girlfriend, Jane Mansfield. I don't know. Just some great, Anyway, so I'm not afraid of death, but I am obsessed with it. I am very interested in the subject of, like, what happens next? What do we know? I was dead for, dead on the table. Let's bring them back. That whole thing. And I'm here to report that in my time of being dead after my car accident, nothing. Nothing. What did you see? Did you see a light? Did you see every dog you've ever owned? No, nothing. Didn't even know it happened until I woke up the next day and they're like, you were dead. And I'm like, really? Well, that doesn't bode well for the idea of an afterlife because I brought nothing back with me. But again, that's not definitive. We don't know how dead I was. Maybe I was just kind of dead. Can you be kind of dead? I don't know. Can you be kind of pregnant? Probably not. I used the term. I said it's the old rodeo term. All of us are going to have our day in the barrel. Yeah, that's a rodeo term, Barney. Barney says, I always thought that was an Asian sex thing. No, I believe it's a rodeo term. I believe it's a rodeo clown term, right? All right. So my obsession with death leads us to this. Did you see this? Did you see that? I always try to tell you. So many of us are all caught up in our own bullshit because we think that, today isn't going to be our day, but today could be our day. Our next breath could be our last. I sit here, I talk to you. I am in the path of Midway Airport. I could be killed right now by a giant 40-pound frozen slab of shit that falls out of an airplane and lands right through my roof and kills me where I sit. Hell, it doesn't even have to be that weird. I could, in my next sentence, have a massive heart attack and die right here in front of you. Or maybe I don't have heart problems. Maybe I'm just a normal human being. When I get up and I go walking out to my car, I could have an aneurysm in my brain burst. Boom. That's how fragile this existence is. Take nothing for granted. Stop being an asshole. Focus on being cool. Focus on being cool with people. Everybody that you interact with, man, it could be your last. Don't be an asshole. All right. To that point, I always preach that. To that point, I want to show you something that happened. You've probably seen it. It went viral because it's fucking insane. But this occurred on a Florida highway the other day. An airplane had to make an emergency landing. That's right. Somebody's just driving down I-95, as it says right here. Somebody's just driving down I-95, minding their own business, probably jamming out to their favorite Spotify playlist, totally oblivious to everything that's happening. And then this goes on. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So right now, this person is probably thinking about what they're going to do when they get home. Oh, what's on TV tonight? What can I watch? Well, you ain't watching shit because that plane just came out of nowhere and landed on you. Let's watch it one more time. Okay. Jesus, man, it lands right on top of it. What were you doing, pilot? I mean, seriously, you couldn't have slowed down. I mean, he couldn't have. If he was trying to hit the car, he might have missed. Look at that. My God, you guys. All right. One more time. Let's watch this one more time. Were these lights on first? All right. See, look down here. Did these lights? Is there? Because you got to think in the oncoming lanes. There must be a cop that watched this happen and then hit his lights. Let's see when the lights come on. Plane is landing. I'd hit the lights right now if I'm a cop in the other lane. Like what? Okay. So where are the Mars lights? There were Mars lights in the... There we go. He just saw it. He's like, holy shit. Holy shit. Got a plane on a car. All right. So I haven't really looked into this. The initial reports were that nobody was killed. 2 people inside the car were taken to the hospital. 4 people on the airplane. They're fine. Airplane's fine. It's actually the car acted as a bit of a cushion for the hard landing they were preparing for. All right, there you have it. Guys, life is fragile. Stop being a dick to people. Start just creating optimism and decency and laughs and smiles. And I know you feel like a pussy and you live your life a coward because you're afraid of everybody trying to take advantage of you. But you know what? Your next breath could be your last. So let's make it a laugh. Yeah, that is fucked up. Thank you, Maddie. Maddie, thank you. Maddie in there telling people to like the show, help the algorithm, like the show, forward the show, like the show, forward the show. Maddie gets it. Maddie's our best new listener. All right. So we did that one. What else do I want to show you? Oh, yeah, I want to show you this. I caught this. And I thought, man, that's wild. there is a thing that is becoming popular on TikTok that young people are doing. Like they invented the wheel. Oh yeah, this is so funny. You guys, it's a bit that I used to do in the early 90s on the Kevin Matthews show. It's Kevin Matthews' idea. Kevin Matthews invented this, or at least, I don't know if there's any way to trace this back before the mid 1980s, but that's when he started doing it. It was a segment that the great Kevin Matthews on Chicago radio called Conference Calls. And as the technical producer of the show back in the time, I had to do the conference calls. And what that was we had a phone bank, and I would engage one line, and I would call somebody real quick, conference them, hit another line, conference them. So I would have two lines, both ringing, right? I'm calling two people at the same time, except I'm not talking. They're going to talk to each other. That's the bit. And it's hysterical. And we only did it with one kind of business, and it was Chinese restaurants. Two Chinese restaurants talking to each other. And I shit you not, folks, it was hysterical. It was one of the most popular things that we did. Are you guys doing more conference calls this week? Yeah, I'll record more conference calls. But I'm the one that had to go into the studio with phone books from all over the country looking for Chinese restaurants. Oh, let's have this one in Sacramento, call this one in Los Angeles, right? That's how we would do it. We had exhausted all the ones in Chicago, so we had to move out. But it was a bit. It was called Conference Calls, Chinese Restaurants. And now apparently youngsters, and I have to wonder, like, is this did the first youngster who came up with this idea, did this youngster have a parent who listened to the Kevin Matthews show back in the day and said, you should do that would be a funny TikTok? Because there are so many old bits that we used to do that, whether, either Pugs and Kelly show or from my days working at the Loop here in Chicago, there are so many bits that were just singular bits inside a greater show, just bits that make such great viral content. Like, do a podcast of just the bits that we did. Anyway, I want to give you an example of how it's being done now, because it's exactly the way I used to do it, except I had a mixing board, a studio, and a big phone conference. These guys are doing it with cell phones, putting them on speaker, which is, modern technology. But here, watch this. This is the modern bit, something that I used to do. And I'm not one of these old guys who can be like, these kids are ripping us off. No, I see this as proof of concept. I'm like, yeah, good. Another generation thinks this is fucking hysterical, because it is. Here it is. This is what's happening on TikTok. And there's a whole bunch of them. But again, give credit where credit is due. Kevin Matthews came up with this in the 1980s, and he's been doing it on radio in Chicago ever since. So here we go. Let's watch how the kids are doing it now.
Hello? Yeah, how can I help you? Hello? Yeah, how can I help you? Is it Chinese restaurant? Yeah, how can I help you? Yeah. What? Yeah. What can I order? How can I help you? What do you mean? It's Chinese restaurant. How can I help you, baby? You want to order or no?
See, they're both working the phones at a Chinese restaurant. Both of them have just been called theoretically by someone who's trying to order Chinese food. They both speak, they're speaking broken English to each other when both of their native tongues could be probably better. They would probably fix this if they could just speak Chinese to each other. But no, in broken English, two people both think they're being called by the other one to order Chinese food.
Hey, Chinese restaurant, I don't call you. You call me. No, I don't call you. No, I don't call you.
All right, it always gets to that point. It always gets to the point where one of them figured, you called me, I call you. It's always, 100% of the time, it always gets to that. You want to look at some more? I was like, so that guy was going viral, and I found him. And then I went, wait, is this a thing, or is this, hold on, let's see here. Do we have any other ones? There were a whole bunch of them. I think that if you even go to YouTube and just put in Chinese restaurant conference, yep, there it is. Okay, so a whole bunch of them. Merging a call between two Chinese restaurants. All right, let's listen to this one. Let's see how this one works.
Hello, Natasha Shimbabyu.
Hey, you want to place an order for pickup?
Okay, what would you like for you? What would you like for you? Natasha
All right, hold on. Let's watch this one. Although I think this guy's doing it wrong.
Hello, Dr. Matthew.
Hey, you want to place an order for pickup?
Okay, what was that?
Yeah, he's doing it wrong. You are never supposed to engage with them. They're engaging with the other Chinese restaurant. That's the bit.
You? What was that for you? Hello? Hello, yes, Matthew?
All right, here we go. He was just sloppy with getting them synced up. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the two orders, is it? Okay, yeah. What was that for you? What you say? I can hear you. Yeah, what would you like to order? You order chicken chow mein and the orange chicken over rice. Is it right?
See, it's funny because they don't speak English. It's funny because, it's funny. Sorry, that's funny. It's funny when people struggle with our native tongue. We enjoy that. Does it make us monsters? Nah.
So you want to order right now, right? Yeah, I ordered already. You told me already, all right? Yeah, the first one, you say you want the chicken chow mein. The second one, your brother want the orange chicken over rice, right? Hello? Hello? Yeah, you want to order right now? You want to pick up? No, you want to order now? You order?
All right, these people are never going to figure it out. All right, there you go. Anyway, the kids have discovered something that we discovered back in the 1980s, that Chinese restaurants are funny, that if you can get them talking to each other, very funny. Really, I bet it works with any kind of ethnic group. Like if you could find like an Indian place, that's what we ought to do. Let's try it with Indian places. Any place where the person answering the phone has an accent, that would be fun. That's fun. All right, what else do we have? The Chinese restaurants, that was fun. Guys, I think that's basically about it. Oh, I can show you this. Yes. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can do this. Maybe I will do something. Maybe there is something that we can talk about here. Let me show you something. Let me show you my little friend. I'll show you. Hold on. If you follow me on Twitter, you know all about my little friend. But here's my little friend. There's a bunch of them. Hold on. All right, there he is. All right, you see this guy? Make him bigger. There we go. All right, look at him. Look at that guy. First of all, he is glorious. He is in perfect shape. He's got a beautiful coat. So this is at my mom's house where I'm staying here in my first... Before we figure out what's going on, I think it's... Oh, and there was some confusion there because I do the show, the studio here, south side of Chicago and all that. I'm in this city. And then and Jeff Ballard on Twitter last night, he's like, oh, you can tell that's an urban coyote. I'm like, that ain't a fucking urban coyote. That is not a south side of Chicago coyote. The confusion was I'm sleeping over at my mom's place for the first couple of weeks that we're here. Okay, so I'm sleeping over there. And she lives on a federally protected wildlife preserve. I've talked about it for years. You know, she's got a bunch of bald eagles. She's got all kinds of crazy woodland creatures all over the place. And she has a shit ton of coyotes. Now, this to understand what this wetland preserve is, you have to let's go back to the Ice Age, shall we? When the Moraine Glacier retreated during the Great Thaw and created the Great Lakes, it left behind in its wake miles and miles of swampy wetland. Now, those miles and miles of swampy wetland have been turned into both the city of Chicago and much of the southeast suburbs, which is where we find ourselves now. Tinley Park is essentially a giant swamp, and there are great parts of Tinley Park, which is about 25 miles south of the city of Chicago. Tinley Park has been preserved as wetlands and all of this kind of stuff, and my mother happens to be lucky enough to live right up against one of these wetlands. And she has, look, my mom worked her ass off her whole life. She loves animals. She loves the wilderness. She's got herself her dream home. And she sits on her back porch and she hangs out with a whole bunch of animals. Now, this guy here, he is obviously a coyote. He is one of many. I'll tell you, if there is a police car, like a couple of blocks, in the other direction where there are neighborhoods and stuff, you will hear a cacophony of just all of them. If you ever wondered how many coyotes are out there, just wait for an ambulance or a fire truck in the town to go by. And you're going to hear so there's a lot of them. This little guy, he's been coming around the backyard at mom's now every night around, I don't know, just as soon as it gets dark, he comes out. Why is he coming over to my mom's house? Because mom feeds him hot dogs. Mom feeds the coyotes. Yeah. You know what? I'm not looking at the chat room, but I bet there's already some of you who are saying shit like, don't feed the coyotes. Let's see. No, nobody's criticizing her so far about feeding the coyotes. So my mother is defiant in this. It's programming. It's the kind of thing that, you heard somewhere and you just say it whenever it's, don't feed the coyotes. Like, don't give your dog chocolate. Why not? Why can't I give my dog chocolate? My dog last Easter ate an entire 5-pound chocolate bunny. He's fine. Now tell me again, why can't I give my dog chocolate? Don't give your dog chicken wings. Really? Because my dog will go in the backyard and murder live chickens if he finds them. He will kill birds and eat them whole. Why am I worried about giving my dog a chicken wing? He could choke. Oh, you don't know my dog. You don't know. Adam says, I call my wife's cooch my personal wetland. It's a good joke. All right, so my mom feeds coyotes. And we got a bit of a problem because my mom's property bumpers up on this lake, right? And there's a couple of other people who also have property on this lake, and they are neighbors, and they all have back porches that face the same beautiful thing that my mom sees. My mom's got this beautiful view in her backyard. And here's the problem. When the lake freezes, I don't know if you can see those footprints in the background. That's a lake. That is a wetland. That is a lake. And when it freezes, the coyotes come right across the lake. And when there's snow on the frozen lake, the footprints all lead directly to the person who is feeding the coyotes. Hi, that's us. We're the horrible family in the neighborhood that puts out, my mom literally has a dog food bowl. She puts a dog food bowl out there for the coyotes, and they all come and they eat. It's like, so I send this picture to my 15-year-old son. I send the picture because he knows, about grandma's animals and all that shit. And I say, hey, look, when you come here, because my kid's coming in a couple weeks, when you get here, you're going to have to feed grandma's animals. And then he sends back a text. He's like, you got to tell her to stop feeding those coyotes. That's bad. And I'm like, oh, dude, you don't get it. I'm sorry. I understand that is the response most people have. Why don't you want to? Well, because more will come. Good. We want more. It's like living in the wilderness. Grizzly Adams didn't complain about Ben hanging around, right? Wasn't that his name? Ben? Wasn't that Ben? Grizzly Adams bear. And okay, so I guess the worries are if you've got a little homo dog, maybe the coyotes will come and eat your stupid little yappy dog. Yeah, we don't care about that because we're hardcore dog owners. My grandma's dog could whip the ass of any pack of coyotes that decides to show up in the backyard. As a matter of fact, they keep their fucking distance because they know that that's Max's backyard. Max is a 100-pound German Shepherd. That's grandma's dog. Grandma's got a big-ass 100-pound German Shepherd. Trust me, she's not in any fear of getting attacked by the coyotes because Max is always with her whenever she puts the bowl down. But I do kind of love it about my mom. I mean, look, I can make you a list of the things I love about my mom. But, one of the things that I love about her is that she's just like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm a good person and I love animals and maybe I'm a little bit of a nature person and all of that stuff. But these little coyotes, if they want to come up to my backyard and I got a raw hot dog handy, I'm going to throw them the raw hot dog. Little known fact about my mom, she walks around with uncooked hot dogs in her pocket at all times. So yeah, so mom feeds the coyotes, and you can see the little footprints. See the footprints behind them? Yeah. So I imagine at the next community meeting, there might be a conversation about why the footprints are leading right to mom's backyard. That's okay. I'm ready to speak in her defense if they need that. Oh, I will go off. All right, so there you go. That's one of our little friends. That's one of our little friends, a little coyote. Comes by. We know we're not supposed to feed him. We don't care. We don't care. We want to feed him because it brings us joy. And I don't know if you saw that video I played a couple of minutes ago, but a plane landed on a car on a highway. So nothing in life is guaranteed. And if feeding raw hot dogs to a bunch of cold, cute little coyotes is somehow a crime against humanity, well, just put us on trial at The Hague because we're ready to go. All right. Do I have anything else? I don't think I have anything else. I think that's about it for today. That's I give you a 3-hour show. That's pretty good. 3 hours, pretty good. Very exciting news about the James Parker executive produced Live 105.3 podcast that is coming to Radio Misfits. By the way, go right now, like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff for Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com, Radio Misfits on YouTube, Radio Misfits on Twitter, Radio Misfits on Facebook. Just put Radio Misfits into Google, follow everything, and you'll get an alert. I promise you, we'll let you know when Who Killed Live 105.3 actually drops. Man, I got so much stuff to do. Oh, God. I'm spending so much money in gas. I got to get gas. That's what I was thinking. I got to get gas. Because you got to have at least half a tank when you're living in, this Arctic climate. Because apparently they say gas freezes. I've lived here through a lot of really bad winters. I've never heard of anybody's gas tank freezing. But whatever. Apparently we got to fill up the gas tank. See what are we doing? What's Maddie doing? Maddie telling Maddie out here telling stories out of school. Let's see what she says. There are no stories she can tell out of school. She's fine. Says, I know Pugs personally from back in the Dallas days. In fact, Pugs and our 2 exes spent a Thanksgiving together once. Remember that? Yeah. Maddie, the Thanksgiving we spent together, we also spent with Adam. Adam spent that Thanksgiving with us. Adam came over. Remember we went we were all living in apartments in the downtown area. Maddie was with a friend, John, and me and my wife and my baby. We were all living in the same building as E of E Gallery on Dragon Street, and E's lovely wife, Mrs. Wendy. And so we all had like a big joint Thanksgiving, and Maddie was there. And then we all decided, because, borderline alcoholics, we all decided to end Thanksgiving by getting rip-roaring drunk at the OE Penguin, the One-Eyed Penguin. Great little bar right there in downtown Dallas. And I remember the lovely Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. Rayna came by, and there were some other people there. I think James Parker was there. Yeah. But we go back like different than that. Like, you were a part of our running crew, Maddie, for a little period of time. There was, let's see here. Mesa was a little guy, and we had Thanksgiving at your condo in downtown. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good time. Although I do remember, and maybe you're being nice to not, I was in such a fight with my son's mother on that night. We were in a really bad fight. I mean, we made up, but then, we got into another fight 2 weeks later, and I don't even remember what the fight was about, but it was terrible. And it probably had everything to do with me in one of my moods and me being petty or whatever. But, that's, you grow up and you learn and you realize that. But yeah, that was, I will never forget that. That was a fight. Speaking of, I mean, not like, and by a fight, what I mean is simmering. Like, there was no screaming or anything like that. We weren't physically violent with each other. We aren't idiots, but it was very tense, and it was very much, I don't like you. I don't like you right now. I don't like you at all. Here, let me show you this, since Maddie just brought up Mason. This is pretty cool. This was on my Facebook page yesterday. That's right. I still do some things on Facebook. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Maddie, you remember that little baby? This is 1-year-old Mason. And this is 16-year-old Mason. I love that. They grow up. That's sad. That is sad. Why can't he be this guy anymore? This guy was my little buddy. this fucker's got opinions. I don't like the guy with opinions as much as I like this little guy. This little guy, I tell you what, I was his favorite stand-up comic. He would sit in that chair and I would just stand in front of him and I would take an empty plastic 2-liter bottle and I would just beat myself over the head with the empty plastic 2-liter bottle, and this little guy would laugh. Thought that was hysterical. Now he thinks I'm stupid. Now he thinks, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Me and my kid got a great relationship, but he does have opinions, and I would like him to go back to the time when he did not have opinions. That was great. Maddie says, I know I saw, and I'm pretty sure your mom was visiting and she kept Mason when we went. Yeah, mom was there. Mom came for that one. Oh, good times. See, there were good times. Life. That's the thing about life. That's why you can't allow your current situation to be the sole defining situation of your life, because our life is nothing but a compilation of really fucking great moments followed by horrible, never-ending sadness. But, and here's why you keep going, because that next great moment that, 15 years later you're sitting here talking about, that next great moment could be tomorrow. Folks, that's called optimism. And that's how we got to live our lives. All right, that's it for me. I'm done. We're done. I'm done being a cheese ball. I do love you guys, though, and I would like to encourage you to drop a little something. You can help us keep going. This show is broke as hell, and it's no joke, and you guys are the best. And if you're so inclined, drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App, and we will keep going. As it stands right now, we're going to keep going through the end of the year. Right, we're trying to see if we can do this here. We're going to do some other things too. Whether or not this kind of daily show continues to take the priority that it has for the last 4 years, we'll see. But got the studio up. We're going to be doing content. The new Radio Misfits podcast, Who Killed Live 105.3, dropping on January 1st. We're excited about that. Also, January 1st, had a nice little call with Rob Barr, our buddy. Talked to Rob today before I went live. Of course, I've been teasing the Unheard Music Show, which is just going to be me doing a DJ show where I'm listening to unheard music. That'll also be launching January 1st, or at least that week, the first week of the new year. That's it, guys. I love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Like, follow, subscribe, just like Maddie says. Do what she says. It's probably a good rule of thumb. We'll see you. Bye.